Chapter 402. Because his two wives, Jing Yanxue and Lan Shirong, were from the Medicine King Valley, a sect that had been concocting pills for generations. The two women had extraordinary talent and foundation for concocting pills. Therefore, Xiaofan suddenly had an idea to let his two young wives learn martial arts from Yan Lang. This was a great opportunity. A great opportunity. In terms of concocting pills, Yan Lang was indeed the best in the world. His attainments were divine. Although Yan Lang had become Xiaofan's slave, he was not one of them. If Yan Lang's divine technique was not passed down, it would be a waste if it was destroyed one day. Therefore, Xiaofan's idea quickly took shape and he had already made up his mind. Okay, keep it a secret for me. Don't tell anyone about Yan Lang. After I have arranged everything, I will let you see Yan Lang. The two women calmed down a little, and then their beautiful eyes were intoxicated as they nodded repeatedly. It was an indescribably amorous scene. Soon, the whole room was filled with spring again. Xiaofan did not know how many plum blossoms had bloomed today. Just like that, Xiaofan stayed in the pure mountain range. He forgot about his worries and did not cultivate. He relaxed and even enjoyed life to his heart's content, playing chess, fishing, planting flowers, reading, traveling, playing in the water, carrying beauty, playing, lingering. Originally, Xiaofan wanted to catch up with Ah Cho. However, after Ah Cho stepped into the true Qi realm, he cultivated even harder than before. At this time, he had already followed some senior true disciples of the Pure Mountain sect to the depths of the northern region to hunt the demon race and train his spirit and fighting spirit. It was said that Ah Cho seemed to have awakened and had reached the second level of true Qi realm. In the secular world, it was enough to be conferred a title. On this day, Pure Mountain Sect. Hall. Xiaohan. Wu Wei. Xiao Mingchu. Fang Ling, Dongfang Qin, and the others gathered together and chatted casually. Drinking tea and admiring flowers. Xiaohan, with your current combat strength, it is very easy for you to hunt the demon race. Below the demon emperor. You are invincible. In this way, the various missions issued by the demon hero tower are not meaningful to you. Wu Wei took a sip of tea and looked at Xiaohan with a faint smile. After a short pause, the dark-haired monster continued. Xiaohan, I suggest you not to cultivate any true Qi divine technique for the time being. Huh? Xiaohan was slightly taken aback. Xiao Mingchu explained from the side. Yes. The sect master was right. Xiaohan, even though your meridians have expanded by 1,000 times, and your foundation is so strong that it's almost abnormal. However, the expanded acupoint realm was still a form of accumulation. It could not be converted into immediate combat power. Xiaohan, with your current pure true Qi, you should be able to use it as an example. They were not even comparable to some peak talisman transformation realm existences. Therefore, Xiaohan, you can't blindly cultivate true Qi techniques. You should know. Some unparalleled divine arts and great Jinqi secret arts had extremely high requirements for pure Jinqi. Xiaohan, if you cultivate those low-quality true Qi divine arts now, when your realm increases in the future, you'll need to look for stronger true Qi divine arts. There's no need to go through all this trouble. Let's directly charge into the talisman transformation realm and then cultivate the supreme divine technique. It'll be done in one step. That's right, Xiaohan. As long as you enter the talisman shaping realm, you'll be able to cultivate the strongest technique of the Pure Cloud sect, the Pure Cloud Great Vital Qi. Wu Yu looked at Xiaohan with a burning gaze. Xiaohan, this Pure Cloud Great Vital Qi is my life's ultimate technique. I hope that you will be able to cultivate it in the future, so that this true Qi divine art will flourish in your hands. Yes, Sect Master. Xiaohan nodded heavily. Then, disciple will strive to enter the talisman shaping realm as soon as possible. After a pause, Xiaohan smiled. That's right. If I want to cultivate a true qi divine art, I'll cultivate the strongest one. Otherwise, I won't cultivate it at all. Originally, on the surface of Xiaofan's heart, the various runes that sealed the demon egg also recorded a large number of divine arts and immortal techniques. However, Xiaofan did not dare to touch them. The runes that had been shattered by the demon god's aura were currently repairing themselves. These runes were used to seal the demon god's egg and slow down the speed at which the demon god's egg was growing. Xiaofan definitely did not dare to act rashly. After chatting for a while, Xiaofan's eyes flickered and he suddenly spoke. Sect Master, disciple has a question. Xiaofan, what's the matter? Speak your mind. Wuyu said amiably. I see. Xiaofan pondered for a moment, then said. Disciple wants to control a human. So that the human would not dare to betray disciple at any time. Even to the extent that he would be dead loyal to disciple. May I ask what method disciple should use? Ha! Xiao Ming-chu laughed and then said decisively. Use poison. Oh? Xiaofan was stunned. For example, I know of an ancient medicine called the Three Corpses Brain Divine Pill. According to legend, this medicine contains 3 types of corpse worms. After consuming it, there are no abnormalities. However, during the Dragon Boat Festival every year, if one does not consume the antidote to the corpse worms in time, the corpse worms will break out of their shells. Once it enters the brain, the person who consumes this medicine will act like a ghost or a demon. He will even bite and eat his parents, wife and children. Junior brother Xiaofan, if you want to forcefully control him, then buy some 3 Corpses Brain Divine Pill and make him consume it. Every year, threaten him with the antidote so that he will listen to you wholeheartedly. Xiao Ming-chu said directly. Of course, this kind of poison has no effect on humans above the talisman-shaping realm or the talisman-shaping realm. Junior brother Xiaofan, what realm is the human you want to control? Use poison? Xiaofan shook his head slightly. To control ordinary people, using the 3 Corpses Brain Divine Pill was indeed enough. However, Yan Lang was the ancestor of medicine refinement. He could make the antidote in seconds. Other than using poison? Xiaofan hesitated for a moment. Using poison is indeed a bad idea. Wuyu looked at Xiaofan. Xiaofan, I know of a secret technique that can control people's minds. Sect Master, please speak, Xiaofan immediately said. Although Yan Lang said that he would submit, he was cunning and full of tricks. He didn't spend so many years in the demon metropolis for nothing. Therefore, keeping Yan Lang by his side would always be a disaster. Unless he could find a way to control him perfectly so that he would not betray him. This secret technique is called purification, Wuyu said with a smile. This is an incomplete page that I found in a ruin in the depths of the wasteland. I've studied it, and it seems to be a Buddhist cultivation technique left behind by a mysterious human from an ancient time who came from another plane. Practicing this technique can purify people's minds. Condense your own mental energy into wish power and Zen light and inject it into the other party's brain. This way, even if the other party has an irreconcilable feud with you and killed your family and took away your wife and daughter. Under the shine of Zen light, your hatred will be dissolved and you will be purified. They will worship you devoutly. So powerful? Fong Ling and Dong Fong Qin exclaimed. Xiaofan's eyes also lit up. Wuyu waved his hand and signaled everyone to be quiet. Then he continued. However, firstly, this secret skill is incomplete. It is practically impossible to practice it. Secondly, it is too difficult to practice this secret skill. The reason for that is because this purification secret skill does not rely on one's true energy. Instead, it relies on one's mental energy. Condense your mental energy into Zen light and wish power and inject it into the other party's brain to purify and control them. If there is a slight deviation, you may be attacked by the other party's mental energy. Also, the success rate of this secret technique is not high. Wu Yu shook his head slightly. The other party's mental energy must be countless times weaker than yours in order to be able to forcibly purify. If both parties have the same mental energy, unless the other party is willing and does not resist at all. If both parties are willing and even cooperate with each other, then there is a possibility of success. Oh. That's too difficult, too harsh. Hearing this, even Xiao Mingchu shook his head. As for Xiaofan, he blurted out, "Sect leader, can you bestow this purified, secret technique to me? I want to study it." "No problem, I can give it to you." Wu Yu nodded his head and immediately reminded him, however, "Xiaofan, this secret technique is still considered to be an evil method and not orthodox. You can study it a little, but you cannot go to a dead end and end up going berserk. Sect master, don't worry. In terms of mental energy, I still have some confidence in myself." Xiaofan smiled. "Alright, I will pass the incomplete secret technique to you later." Wu Yu nodded. At this moment, Xiao Mingchu's expression changed slightly and he said with a strange expression. "Someone sent me a message through the chivalrous token. It's true. I rarely turn on the communication function of the chivalrous token, but I still received a message. Annoying, really annoying. Forget it, I will turn off the communication function of the chivalrous token. For peace and quiet." Saying this, Xiao Mingchu took out his chivalrous token and was about to turn off the communication function. Suddenly, Xiao Mingchu's expression froze. His mental energy directly entered the chivalrous token. Moreover, after a few breaths, Xiao Mingchu's expression became more and more excited. His breathing became heavy, and his whole body trembled. "Mingchu," Wu Yu said doubtfully. "Eldest senior brother, you?" Xiaofan also looked at Xiao Mingchu in confusion. "Don't speak for now. The pagoda master personally sent me a message." Xiao Mingchu blurted out, "The pagoda master came out of seclusion and sent me a private message. This is no small matter. This is no small matter. It concerns the celestial world." Saying this, Xiao Mingchu once again sent his mental energy into the chivalrous token. He stopped talking and looked frightened. About the celestial world? Hearing this, Wu Yu, Fang Ling, and Dong Fang Qin all held their breath. As for Xiaofan, his heart tightened. The pagoda master finally came out of seclusion? What message did the celestial world send? And he even sent a private message to eldest senior brother. Xiaofan was also a little uneasy. The scene was silent. After a few hundred breaths, Xiao Mingchu carefully kept the chivalrous token. His face was flushed and his emotions were very unstable. "Mingchu, what's going on? What did the pagoda master tell you to send a private message?" Wu Yu looked directly at Xiao Mingchu. Phew, Xiao Mingchu let out a long breath, raised his head, and said word by word. "The opportunity has come. The great opportunity has come." To be continued. Chapter 403. Xiao Mingchu said repeatedly. A great opportunity had arrived, and his words were astonishing. He was extremely excited and couldn't control himself. Xiaohan's heart was also in turmoil. One must know that this eldest senior brother of his had always been lazy. It was as if he didn't care about anything at all, and he rarely lost his composure like this. What kind of private message did the pagoda master send to eldest senior brother? It actually caused this eldest senior brother, who was as steady as a rock, to have a mental breakdown. "Mingchu, you have to be steady," Wu Xiaolong repeatedly said. "What's going on? Is it convenient for you to say it?" Since it was a private message from the pagoda master, Wu De naturally had to seek Xiao Mingchu's opinion. He couldn't force him. The true energy in Xiao Mingchu's body surged. After a long while, his expression gradually returned to normal. He looked around vigilantly and said in a low voice. Sect Master, it was indeed the Tower Master who personally sent a private message to me. There is no doubt about this. Furthermore, the Pagoda Master also strictly ordered the disciples to keep this information a secret. However, Xiao Mingchu suddenly smiled and said nonchalantly, "The sky is high and the emperor is far away, disciple doesn't care so much. There's no need to keep it a secret, disciple will tell you everything in detail." Ha 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 ha. Seeing Xiao Mingchu's mischievous expression and attitude, Fang Ling and Dongfang Qin could not help but laugh out loud. Wu Hu could not help but laugh as well. Xiaofan's mind was tense. "Then say it. Mingchu, don't worry, we won't leak it out." Wu Li promised. "Yes." Xiao Mingchu sorted out his words before his expression fluctuated again. "I've been chosen to enter the Genius Zone. That's why the Tower Master sent a private message to me. He told his disciples to prepare themselves. And it would be in 7 days. He secretly headed to the Wuxia Tower. He met with the Pagoda Master and many elders. This time, the Pagoda Master only sent a private message to the 100 ancient giants and the 102 people who had been selected to enter the Genius Zone. The other chivalrous heroes were all kept secret. Sect Master, you are indifferent to fame and fortune. You have not obtained the ranking and title of an ancient giant. You didn't receive the Tower Master's private message either. It's fine, Wu Yu said calmly. It doesn't matter if you send a private message to the sect or not. But does this Genius Zone have anything to do with the immortal world? Genius Zone? Hearing this, Xiaofan was still confused, but his mind instantly relaxed. It looked like the message from the celestial world had nothing to do with the demon god's egg. Yes. The Genius Zone is closely related to the immortal world. Xiao Mingchu said seriously. Simply put, he was the third most powerful immortal emperor in the history of the immortal world. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao was also known as the immortal emperor with the most treasures in the immortal world. However, he suddenly disappeared from the immortal world. But recently, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's old nest was found in a huge plain. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's accumulated wealth and immortal treasures are sealed in this lair. See, hearing this, Wu Yu could not help but gasp. Crow blurted out. It's said that there are many immortals in the celestial realm. However, ordinary immortals are called true immortals, and there are tens of millions of them. However, there are only a few hundred immortals who can be titled as immortal emperors. This immortal emperor Zhu Dao was ranked third in the history of the celestial world. He was terrifying. It's very terrifying. The wealth of his life. I don't dare to imagine, I really don't dare to imagine. Sect leader, that should be a treasure that can topple a nation, right? Xiaohan was also very shocked. Xiaohan, I'll give you an example. Crow looked at Xiaohan. In the celestial realm, the total wealth of an ordinary true immortal's life is equivalent to the total resources of 100 planes like ours. The total wealth of an immortal emperor is equivalent to a true immortal's life savings by 10,000 or even 100,000 times. Since this immortal emperor Zhu Dao is known as the immortal with the most treasures in the celestial realm, then, his life savings should be tens of millions of times more than an ordinary true immortal. It might even be more than that. Ah! So terrifying? Xiaohan almost jumped up. In other words, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's wealth might be equivalent to 1 billion planes like ours? This is just the most conservative estimate. Crow's voice trembled. In Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure, there must be a large number of immortal elixirs, immortal qi, immortal arts manuals, real magic treasures, immortal formations, offensive immortal weapons, defensive immortal armors. Any of these treasures would be invincible in an ordinary plane like ours. So strictly speaking, we can't use the material wealth of an ordinary plane to compare with Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. Maybe 1 billion, 10 billion, or even 100 billion ordinary planes can't compare with Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. Hearing Crow's words, Fang Ling and Dongfang Qin were even more shocked. Xiaofan was also completely dumbfounded. Mingchu, continue. Crow forcibly restrained his trembling emotions. Now, the celestial realm has already detected the exact spatial coordinates of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's lair. However, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao has set up a restriction in his lair. His lair is divided into several layers. The most precious and important treasures are placed in the innermost layer. The outermost layer has a very special restriction. Immortals can't enter it. Only humans under 10,000 years old who have not become immortals can enter. This layer is called the Genius Zone. The celestial realm has already passed this message to hundreds of millions of ordinary planes, so that each ordinary plane can send elites under 10,000 years old to enter the Genius Zone and open the gate. Moreover, the celestial realm has also announced that the celestial realm will not touch the treasures placed in the outermost layer of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's lair. They will share them with the explorers who enter. Xiao Mingchu swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said blankly. Sect Master, in other words, the treasure placed in the Genius Zone that we are going to enter is the lowest quality among all the treasures owned by Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao. However, there are also immortal elixirs and supreme-grade immortal qi. There will also be a lot of immortal arts manuals. Even if we get one immortal elixir, I'm afraid mortals like us can directly condense an immortal body and become immortals. Immortal Emperor's Treasure. The celestial realm actually gave us a chance to explore the Immortal Emperor's treasure. Crow's voice also became heavy. Yes, yes, yes. Mingchu. You're right. Even if we only get one immortal elixir, it will be a great fortune for mortals. It will be able to change their fate. Tisk Tsk. Immortal elixir, a tonic that only immortals can take. Xiaofan clicked his tongue. He secretly thought in his heart. I don't know if Yan Lang can concoct an immortal elixir. I think he probably can't. After all, he doesn't have the raw materials. He doesn't have any immortal herbs or immortal flowers. This disciple is under 10,000 years old. His true qi cultivation has reached the talisman formation realm. Therefore, he is selected as the candidate to enter the Genius Zone. Xiao Mingchu looked excited. Sect Master, there are actually many talisman formation realm experts among the ancient giants, but most of them are over 10,000 years old. It is said that in the entire evil hero ranking, there are only 6 evil heroes under 10,000 years old who have reached the talisman formation realm. Including the disciple, there are only 6 of them. It seems like the Tower Master also values the disciple very much. I am also less than 10,000 years old. Why didn't you inform me to go to the Genius Zone? Suddenly, Eastern Bird Monkey took out his evil hero token and checked it repeatedly. That's strange. The Pagoda Master and the Elders did not send me a private message. So I am not qualified to enter the Genius Zone and obtain the immortal elixir? Damn it! Junior brother Fang Ling, your actual age is also far less than 10,000 years old. This. Fang Ling was stunned and immediately said. Senior brother Dongfang, stop fooling around. We have just entered the cave expansion realm. How can we be qualified to explore the Immortal Emperor's treasure? That's right. Wooly nodded in agreement. The most important problem now is that the immortal world did not only send this information to our plane. Instead, it spread the net and entered every nook and cranny. Countless ordinary planes received the information. In the vast universe, there are many ordinary planes. 1 million? 1 million? 1 billion? No one knows. Every ordinary plane is like our plane. There are humans and demons. The human cultivates true qi and becomes evil heroes. Dongfang, do you think our ordinary plane is strong or weak among the billions of ordinary planes? Wuxia looked at Dongfang Qin. This. Dongfang Qin was stunned and immediately scratched his ears and cheeks. This disciple can't say for sure. Sect Master, this disciple guesses that there must be countless ordinary planes that are weaker than our plane. However, there must be countless planes that are stronger than us. Xiaofan continued. Yes. Therefore, there must be many ordinary planes that are stronger than us. What is the situation of those geniuses who are less than 10,000 years old in those planes? There will probably be 8th level true Qi, 9th level true Qi, and even 10th level true Qi. Xiaofan, when you were in the cave expansion realm, you expanded your acupoints by more than 2,000 times. In our plane, this is unprecedented and unparalleled. But what about the other planes? There might be a more monstrous existence than you. Wuxia said seriously. That's for sure. Xiaofan did not deny it. There are too many planes and the base number is too large. All kinds of monsters may appear. Maybe in some planes, a newborn baby is in the true Qi realm. This is also possible. Therefore, the competition to explore the Fey Emperor's treasure this time will be very intense, even bloody and cruel. A cultivation of the cave expansion realm is not enough. It is no different from courting death. Wu Xiao looked at Dongfang Qin and Fang Ling, therefore, Dongfang Qin, Fang Ling, the two of you, don't be angry. Even if the pagoda master allows you to go to the genius zone, my sect will not allow it. Yes, sect master, this disciple's cultivation is too weak. Dongfang Qin sighed. Mingchu, what do you think? Wu Xiao looked at Xiao Mingchu again. Sect master. This disciple naturally wants to enter the genius zone. Xiao Mingchu's eyes were completely burning with determination. That's right. There are countless planes, and countless geniuses are pouring into the genius zone. The competition will reach an unimaginable level. My cultivation base is barely passable in this plane, but compared to the experts from other planes, I might not even be able to withstand a single blow. If this disciple fights for it, I might die. However, the Immortal Emperor's treasure. This is a great opportunity that will not appear in an ordinary plane for billions of years. It can only be encountered and not sought. Now that this opportunity has arrived, this disciple has to fight for it no matter what. I will not hesitate to die. This disciple cultivates true Qi to explore the unknown, to prove my Tao, to obtain eternal life. To be immortal, to not die and not perish, I must become an immortal. This disciple will give it his all this time. If I don't give it my all, I will be letting myself down. Good. You have guts. As expected of the top disciple of my cloud sect. Wu Xiao nodded his head in relief. Suddenly, Wu Xiao turned his gaze to Xiaofan. Xiaofan, what about you? This disciple also wants to go to the genius zone. Xiaofan blurted out without hesitation. This disciple must go. To be continued. Chapter 404. As soon as he heard Xiao Mingchu mention the words Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao, Genius Zone, Immortal Pills and Magic Treasures, Xiaofan's brain was boiling hot. His entire person was inexplicably excited. Every cell in his body that had been silent for a long time became active. I, Xiaofan, must go to the genius zone. Xiaofan's determination was as sharp as a blade. In fact, Xiaofan did not make this decision blindly or impulsively. Xiaofan had his own reasons. 1. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao. Forget about this Immortal Emperor's extraordinary ranking in the history of the celestial world. His title was Invincible Blade. He must have cultivated saber techniques. An Immortal Emperor who cultivated Saber Dao probably had more than the great accomplishment stage in Saber Intent. He might have comprehended the Blade Intent to Godly stage, which allowed him to cut through time and space and receive the ancient Saber soul into his body. He could open the door to the Saber realm. Saber Intent could kill external demons, internal demons, and mental demons. The demon god egg was Xiaofan's mental demon. Bone maggots. Death-reaping talisman. Xiaofan wanted to destroy the demon god egg and kill the demon god's soul. It was equivalent to killing the biggest mental demon. He had to comprehend blade intent to godly or there would be no hope. In this realm, the blade intent to godly stage was only a legend and only existed in theory. As a result, Xiaofan couldn't even follow the map and draw a gourd from it. The probability of Xiaofan comprehending blade intent to godly alone was extremely low. However, if he could enter the lair of a Saber Dao Immortal Emperor, he might be able to gain something. In the lair of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao, he could comprehend saber intent and cause it to soar. It was not impossible. It was a matter of life and death. Even if there was a chance. No matter how slim it was, Xiaofan did not want to miss it. 2. Treasure. Immortal Emperor Treasure. Endless immortal pills. Immortal Qi. Magical treasures. Celestial technique manuals. It was impossible for these to not be tempting to Xiaofan. Which mortal did not want to have a share of the treasures in the celestial world? 3. Now. Although Xiaofan's meridian expansion was shocking in this realm, his starting point was also higher. To enter the talisman transformation realm, he had to accumulate more than what he had in the demon metropolis. Seriously speaking, this plane could no longer satisfy Xiaofan's needs in terms of accumulation. Unless he really entered the demon metropolis to kill the demon thearchs. However, the demon race thearchs were all united and would never leave the demon metropolis easily. Xiaofan wanted to assassinate any of the thearchs. It was almost impossible. And the genius zone included countless ordinary planes of the universe. The super geniuses below 10,000 years old were filled with all kinds of competition, all kinds of deception, all kinds of competition. This was the best battlefield to accumulate accumulations. Just like the expansion of acupoints, the more abundant and vigorous the accumulation, the better the effects of the talismans, allowing one to advance by leaps and bounds. Xiaofan also wanted to go to the genius zone to strengthen his foundation. When it was time to transform into a talisman, it would soar into the sky. 4. If he entered the Immortal Emperor's nest, he might be able to find another way to deal with the demon god egg. Sect leader, I've made up my mind to follow eldest senior brother to the genius zone to search for the Immortal Emperor's treasure. Xiaofan's eyes were filled with determination. Wuxia nodded slightly. Junior brother Xiaofan, you didn't receive the private message that the pagoda master sent you either. I wonder if the pagoda master and the elders will give you a spot to head to the genius zone. Dongfang Qin joked. I have to go even if they don't want to. Xiaofan smiled. The place is not a problem. Wu Xiao said with certainty. Xiaofan, when you broke through to the expanded acupoint realm and created glory, the pagoda master and the elders were in seclusion. Naturally, they don't know about your achievements. Moreover, they don't know that you have returned from the demon metropolis alive. They probably didn't have time to inform you. Xiaofan, you are the most outstanding genius of this plane. You are less than 100 years old. No matter how you look at it, Xiaofan, you are qualified to enter the genius zone. But, Xiaofan, do you really want to go? Xiaofan, in this plane, your luck is prosperous. No matter what happens, you will be able to turn misfortune into fortune. However, the peak of prosperity is bound to fall. I'm worried that your luck will coincidentally hit a low point at this time. Moreover, from the other planes, the candidates who entered the genius zone are also geniuses among geniuses. Everyone has their own opportunities, and everyone has their own luck. Some of the monstrous geniuses might have even more luck than you. I am worried that your luck will clash. If you are not careful, your luck will be taken away by other monstrous geniuses. Sect Master, this disciple's thoughts are the same as eldest senior brother. Instead of living a mediocre life in this ordinary plane, it is better to go and compete with the elites of the other planes. This is such a great opportunity. This disciple does not want to miss it. Xiaofan said sternly. Wuxia was silent for a moment and then burst into laughter. Ha 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 ha, good. Good. There are no cowards in my pure cloud sect. Then. Mingchu, Xiaofan, you can go with ease. Don't let down the reputation of the pure cloud sect. Don't let down the prestige of our plane. If I were 10,000 years younger, I would definitely enter the genius zone like you. What a pity, what a pity. Junior brother Xiaofan, the pagoda master sent a message. In 7 days, we will secretly go to the Wuxia pagoda to discuss the matter of entering the genius zone. At that time, you and I will go to the Wuxia pagoda hand in hand. The pagoda master should give you a spot, junior brother Xiaofan, Xiao Mingchu said. Alright, I will go with eldest senior brother 7 days later. Xiaofan nodded in agreement. Xiaofan. Wuxia thought for a moment. Xiaofan, spend these 7 days with Yanxue and Shirong. Try to leave behind descendants. With your genes, your descendants will definitely be extraordinary geniuses. Their futures will be limitless. Your future after entering the genius zone is unpredictable. Once you die, your soul will be destroyed and you won't be able to revive. It is best if you can leave behind descendants in advance. Pass down the incense to prevent your talent from being destroyed. Yes, sect master, Xiaofan said seriously. Alright, you may all disperse. Xiaofan, come with me. I will give you the remnant of the purification secret technique. Wuxia nodded lightly at Xiaofan. Wuxia pagoda. The highest level. 13 mental storms swept through everything, and runes intertwined. The sun and moon sank. The ancient giant with the appearance of a scholar. He stood in the middle of the 13 mental storms like a rock sculpture. What? Hong He. You said that Xiaofan came back alive? He swaggered into the Wuxia pagoda and killed people to establish his dominance? He killed dozens of Wuxia. Even some of the ancient giants were killed by this lawless thief. How powerful! Killing people so brazenly near the Wuxia pagoda was something that had never happened in thousands of years. This is a challenge to our dignity. Provoke the dignity of the entire devil hero world. A spiritual storm, violently wriggled, the anger was monstrous, sending out an angry roar. Pagoda Master. Elders, Xiaofan did come back alive. However, he said that he disappeared for a few months to complete a secret mission given to him by the Pagoda Master. The obituary that the Pagoda Master published last month was just a trick to confuse people. The ancient giant said. This. The Pagoda Master's voice was slightly heavy. Since Xiaofan came back alive, then, that mission? Did Xiaofan complete that mission? Xiaofan did not mention anything about the mission. I am not sure either. The ancient giant said. Oh. I see. I never thought that. I never thought that. The Pagoda Master's voice became low. Pagoda Master. Xiaofan is a madman, we must kill him. We must punish him severely. Otherwise, whoever is unhappy today will kill in the Wuxia pagoda, and whoever is unhappy tomorrow will kill in the Wuxia pagoda again. What will we do? Another elder roared. We can't kill him. The ancient giant said with a frown. Pagoda Master and elders, please calm down. Yes, Xiaofan did make a mistake, but he cultivated in seclusion in the Wuxia pagoda and expanded his meridians 10 times in a row, and his meridians expanded by 25-53 times. This kind of genius is destined to become an immortal in the future. He will break through the ages, dominate the 9 prefectures, and dominate the world. Xiaofan has not transformed into a talisman yet, but once he transforms his true qi into a true talisman, he will soar to the sky with limitless potential. Killing this kind of person will be a loss to the entire plane. Moreover, this time, he will enter the Genius Zone to fight against the Wuxia from other planes for Celestial Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. Our plane seems to be lacking, and we only have 102 candidates. Now is the time to use people. With Xiaofan's potential, he will naturally obtain a spot to represent the plane and enter the Genius Zone. Xiaofan might be able to obtain the Celestial Emperor's treasure for our plane and raise the prestige of our plane. Once he transforms into a talisman, he will dominate the world and be invincible. This. The pagoda master seemed to be thinking. The elders also became silent. After a long time, the accumulated meridians expanded by 2553 times. Indeed. Too monstrous. One of the elders finally spoke. This kind of achievement is the best in our plane. Moreover, I'm afraid it will be difficult to achieve this in other planes. Pagoda Master, I suggest that Xiaofan be pardoned of all his sins and be given a spot to enter the Genius Zone. This person's luck is too prosperous. He did not die after entering the demon metropolis, and he even came back alive with a huge accumulation and perfect meridians expanded. Only a person with this kind of luck can rob the luck of the geniuses from other planes in the Genius Zone and obtain celestial treasures. What? The secret mission that Xiaofan went to complete was to enter the demon metropolis? The scholar screamed in shock. This matter is highly confidential, the pagoda master said with slight displeasure. Hong He, you leave first. We'll discuss about Xiaofan's matter again. The scholar hesitated for a moment, but he still left respectfully. I wonder if Xiaofan succeeded in assassinating Brother Yen. Moreover, I wonder to what extent the origin demon Qi in his heart has grown. The pagoda master said with extreme annoyance. This person is a calamity. A great calamity. However, his meridians expanded by 2553 times is really monstrous. This puts me in a difficult position. Pagoda Master, this is all the more reason to let Xiaofan enter the Genius Zone. The evil origin demon Qi in his heart is a huge hidden danger that could erupt at any time and destroy the world. It's very inappropriate to let him stay in our plane. We might as well use this opportunity to give him a spot to enter the Genius Zone and let him jump around. If his luck really can't be controlled and he obtains the celestial treasures, all the benefits will belong to us. If he dies, it'll be the end of everything. This kind of thing will not affect us at all. That's true. Pagoda Master, we'll pretend to be polite to Xiaofan and let him go to the Genius Zone and work for us. Pagoda Master, give Xiaofan a spot. The group of elders spoke one after another at this moment. To be continued. Chapter 405. The highest floor of the Monster Hero Tower. In this plane, the 13 leaders of the human race were still discussing about Xiaofan. You mean, to make use of Xiaofan's luck? The Tower Master said coldly. Yes, Tower Master, Xiaofan's luck is absolutely heaven-defying. How old is he now? He is far from 100 years old. He has already reached the peak of the expanding meridian realm. 10 times of expanding meridian is an unprecedented 2553 times. What is the most important thing in cultivation? Talent? Ability? Foundation? Mentor? Diligence? No, none of these. Luck is the most important. Some youngsters with better talent than Xiaofan did not have luck like Xiaofan. Not only could they not improve by leaps and bounds, they might even get into trouble and die prematurely. That Garen in the past had talent, bone structure, and comprehension abilities that were not inferior to Xiaofan. He also had luck. However, his luck was not as good as Xiaofan's. That was why he was killed by Xiaofan. It was likely that Xiaofan had devoured Garen's luck as well. That was why Xiaofan was able to advance to such a level without turning back. I heard that Xiaofan used to be a live target of the Cloud sect. What is a live target? It's cannon fodder, the lowest existence, lower than pigs and dogs. There are many live targets in the world, but none of them had a good ending. They were all killed or crippled by martial arts disciples, leaving their corpses everywhere. But Xiaofan managed to survive, creating a path of blood, from a live target to where he is today. If this isn't luck, then what is? Moreover, we instigated Xiaofan to assassinate Brother Yan in the demon metropolis. This was sending him to his death. We did not expect Xiaofan to come back alive. But now, not only did he come back alive, he even showed off his strength. Killing people to establish his prestige. Very impressive. It can be said that Xiaofan's luck has reached a peak. Tower Master, it's like this. We cannot act recklessly against Xiaofan now. They couldn't plot against him, and they couldn't kill him either. There is the existence of luck in the unseen world. If we kill someone with heaven-defying luck, it will affect us as well. We can only feign civility. Xiaofan's luck is so strong. It won't make sense if we don't let him work for us in the genius zone. The pagoda master let out a deep breath. He had finally made his decision. Indeed, the requirement of one's luck is even stricter when it comes to treasure hunting. Forget it, I'll inform Xiao Mingqiu of the Pure Cloud sect right now and have him tell Xiaofan that we're going to search for treasures. He would no longer pursue Xiaofan's past crimes and would instead give him a spot to enter the genius zone. After 7 days, Xiaofan would arrive. He followed Xiao Mingqiu to the Wuxia pagoda. As for the matter regarding Yan Lang, this seat will also properly interrogate him when the time comes. If Xiaofan really kills Yan Lang today, it will be a great surprise. Ha 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 ha. Yes, yes, yes. Xiaofan is a double-edged sword. If we make good use of him, he will bring us a pleasant surprise. Ha ha ha. Tower Master, I don't know why, but now that Xiaofan has joined us, I actually have some inexplicable confidence that our plane will be able to enter the genius zone. I have a premonition that we will really be able to obtain immortal pills and magical treasures. Ha ha ha. An elder let out a carefree laugh. Cloud Sect, Cloud Mountain Range. Xiaofan followed behind Wu Yu and walked through the Pure Cloud Palace. I wonder if I can cultivate the incomplete version of the purification secret technique. Xiaofan was walking quickly behind him, following closely behind Wu Yu. However, this secret technique is of little value. It's useless against experts. It can only be used to control the weak. Moreover, it's extremely difficult to forcibly control and edify the other party. Moreover, it's easy to be devoured by the other party. If I want to edify someone, I can only do it if the other party is willing. In fact, I even need the other party to open up their mind and not resist spiritually. If it wasn't for the sake of controlling Yan Lang, Xiaofan wouldn't need this secret technique. That's right. It's a pity to kill Yan Lang. It's a waste of a heavenly treasure. If I don't kill him and keep him by my side, he'll always be a disaster. Therefore, I need to control him perfectly. Not long after, Wu Yu brought Xiaofan to the back of the Pure Cloud Palace and entered an ancient wooden pavilion. The entire wooden pavilion was carved with precious agarwood from the bottom of the sea. It was beautifully decorated and had an antique feel to it. Sect Master. Outside the pavilion, a few elegant female disciples were trimming the flowers and sweeping the fallen leaves. When they saw Wu Yu, they bowed and greeted him. When they saw Xiaofan, their beautiful eyes flashed with admiration and they greeted him. Greetings, Senior Brother Xiaofan. Xiaofan politely returned the greeting. Xiaofan, follow me in. This is the place where I read books, drink tea, and study the martial Tao when I'm free. Other than a few female disciples who clean up, no one else comes here. Wu Yu said with a smile. The two of them entered the wooden pavilion one after the other. They walked up the spiral staircase and went up to the second floor. On the second floor, there was a large circle of bookshelves on the 4 walls. Countless books, rolls of paper, animal skin papers, jade slips, bamboo slips. They were neatly arranged on the bookshelves. Xiaofan couldn't help but gasp in amazement. Soon, Wuyu took out a thin piece of yellowish paper from the bookshelf on the east side and carefully handed it to Xiaofan. Xiaofan, in fact, this is only an incomplete page. It describes some of the theories behind the edification secret technique. However, it doesn't contain much about the cultivation method. Just take a look. Don't force yourself to cultivate, lest you go mad. Sect Master, I understand. Xiaofan nodded and smiled. I don't think I'll go mad. Hehe, Wuyu also smiled. That's right. Xiaofan, your mental strength is very strong now. You've also comprehended the great accomplishment stage saber intent. Your soul is like a saber, sharp and unbreakable. It won't be easy to cause you to go mad. Xiaofan smiled and took the yellowish paper. He glanced at it. This piece of paper was very old and almost rotten. It was also emitting a moldy stench. Who knew how many years ago it was an antique from? On the paper, there were only some crooked words that were barely discernible. This. Xiaofan immediately smiled bitterly. Sect Master. I have to study it carefully before I can try to cultivate it. It's really too broken, suddenly. Before Wuyu could speak. Xiaofan's heart, which was sealed by layers of 10,000 immortal formation, suddenly throbbed. This throbbing came from the surface of his heart. One of the countless broken seals. This seal, which was almost broken by the demon god's aura. It instantly loosened. There was a sign that it was going to break. What? Another seal is going to break? Could it be? This remnant page that recorded that the secret technique of crossing tribulations actually triggered another immortal seal? This is the 7th seal that was triggered, this. Xiaofan's heart was filled with shock and astonishment. The 7th seal was extremely thick. It was inscribed with countless ancient runes and had a powerful aura. At this moment, it was trembling non-stop. Furthermore, there was a glazed Buddhist light flickering within every rune on the seal. Vaguely, large golden Buddhas could be seen within the runes, and they were singing Buddhist hymns. In the ears of those who heard it, it produced a kind of pious and pure power of faith, yes. Another peerless divine technique has been triggered. Xiaofan was certain. However, for the current Xiaofan, every time a seal was broken, a divine technique would be triggered. Xiaofan was in a dilemma. Obtaining a divine technique was naturally good. However, the seal would also be consumed. Without these seals, the demon god's eggs' breeding speed would be unimaginable. Although these seals are damaged, they are self-repairing. They are also very useful in suppressing the vitality of the demon egg. Once all these seals are broken, even with the 10,000 immortal formation outside, the breeding speed of the demon egg will be completely out of control. At that time, I will be in danger. Thinking of this, Xiaofan's forehead was filled with cold sweat. At the same time, the demonic egg that was hibernating in the heart wriggled a few times. It let out a savage sneer and a very proud thought that was directly transmitted to Xiaofan's brain. Brat, now that these seals are gone, my divine secret technique will be completed faster. Take care of yourself. Xiaofan, is there something wrong with this remnant page of the secret technique? I can see that your complexion is a bit unsightly. Wu Luan immediately asked. This is nothing. Sect Master, this disciple seems to have some understanding of this secret technique. Alright, Sect Master, this disciple will take his leave. This disciple needs to go into seclusion immediately to solve this bit of understanding. Xiaofan said quickly. Then, he fled from the wooden pavilion as if he was escaping from a disaster. This boy. Wuyu looked out of the window and watched as Xiaofan's figure disappeared from his sight. This boy is too unconventional. This sect master can't understand his actions at all, Xiaofan directly used his true energy and returned to his true inheritance mountain within a dozen breaths' time. After saying a few words to Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue, Xiaofan entered a secret room on the mountain peak. He sat cross-legged. His mind sank into his heart. Originally, I didn't want the seal to be broken. However, since it has come to this, there is no other way. Let's see what kind of divine technique it is. Xiaofan no longer forcefully suppressed the seventh seal that was about to be broken. He relaxed his mind. In the next moment, crack! A crisp sound, like an eggshell breaking, filled the air with the smell of breaking the shackles and removing the seal. It was extremely mysterious. Not long after, Xiaohan's heart started to beat and heavenly music sounded, strange phenomena, auspicious clouds, and heavenly flowers poured out from Xiaohan's heart. The seventh seal was completely broken. In an instant, mysterious chanting sounds could be heard everywhere. 10,000 Buddhist lights. Golden Buddha shadows were sitting cross-legged everywhere. Each of the golden Buddha phantoms was performing a strange hand seal. Strangely, under the influence of the Buddhist lights from the golden Buddha shadows, Xiaohan's entire body also underwent some changes. Xiaohan strangely felt that his spirit was actually becoming brighter and brighter. It was as if a knife was placed on a whetstone and continuously sharpened. It was as if he had developed a magical sixth sense. Rays of Buddhist light fused into Xiaohan's cerebral cortex. Suddenly, Xiaohan's spirit became sharp and penetrating, like the bright sun shining in the clear sky. His entire brain seemed to have turned into a blue sky with white clouds. It was clean, without any filth or shadow. The whole world was intoxicated with peach blossoms and endless fragrance. Suddenly, Xiaohan's spirit was brightened. Some of the subtle changes in his body, such as heartbeat, blood circulation, cell division and production, the contraction of pores, the change in body temperature, the movement of his organs, all of them were clearly reflected in Xiaohan's mind, as if he was looking at the lines on his palm. There was even a ball of blazing light that seeped out from Xiaohan's brain, forming a halo that covered Xiaohan's head. This was the spiritual halo that was emitted when one's spirit was raised to a certain level. Moreover, behind each golden Buddha's head, there was also a huge spiritual halo radiating from it, revealing an unparalleled spiritual power. It was too strange. It was too strange. Now, Xiaohan felt as if he was in the house of vigor with 100 times the sense of touch. Under the influence of the countless golden Buddha shadows, many of the impurities in Xiaohan's spirit seemed to be cleansed, causing his spirit to become spotless. Round and flawless. I got it. Suddenly, Xiaohan's eyes opened, and they shone brightly. His pupils were like the reflection of swords and knives, and his face was filled with the light of enlightenment. The remnant page that the sect leader gave me is a very small part of this technique. This technique is not some purification secret technique. The so-called purification is merely the tip of the iceberg of this technique. Now, the remnant page has triggered a seal, causing this technique to be completely restored. Just like when I restored the indestructible golden body, Son of Heaven's divine fist. Destroying Sky and Earth mental technique. A technique that specializes in cultivating spirit power. To be continued. Chapter 406. Destroying Sky, Decimating Earth mental art. Focus on psychic power. Xiaohan was completely immersed in the Buddhist light, immersed in the analysis and interpretation of this mysterious technique. His eyes were focused on his nose was focused on his heart, like an old monk in meditation. The halo of spiritual power behind his head grew brighter and brighter. Illuminate the ages. It was almost as if it was exuding a supreme spirit concept. Now Xiaohan also knew that this extinguishing sky decimating earth mental technique was a very, very precious cultivation technique. This kind of cultivation technique. Even in the immortal world, once it appeared, immortals would fight over it. Because, this was a psychic force arcane art. Be it in the upper realm or the lower realm, cultivation techniques that specialized in tempering the mind were extremely rare. If one were to compare and rank the cultivation techniques in the world, then, the true energy divine art should be ranked last. Then, it was time to temper one's body. There were actually very few cultivation techniques that specialized in tempering the body, so they were precious. Then, there was the special cultivation technique. Special cultivation methods, such as the 10,000 beasts devouring technique that Xiaofan cultivated before. Lastly, without a doubt, was the most precious and rare cultivation method that even immortals would fight over, a psychic power cultivation method. Xiaofan knew that even among the immortals of the immortal world, very few were qualified to cultivate psychic techniques. They were as rare as phoenix feathers and qilin horns. Very soon, Xiaofan saw a mass of golden gas in his brain. Xiaofan understood that this ball of golden gas was his spiritual energy. There was a strand of saber qi circling around the golden gas. Intertwining. This saber qi was Xiaofan's mastery saber intent. This saber qi, when fused with mental energy, would evolve into the natal saber qi that could destroy heaven and earth. Natal saber qi, soul-locking 10,000 miles. With a slash of the saber, it could kill people and ghosts, annihilating the 6 realms. Moreover, the innate saber qi was not activated by true energy. It could be said. Once a bladesman produced his life saber qi in the brain, the saber qi would be extremely powerful. That had nothing to do with true energy. Initial success saber intent and intermediate saber intent required true energy to activate. However, the natal saber qi of the Desheng stage relied on mental energy. Simply put, the more powerful one's mind was, the more powerful one was. The more powerful the intrinsic saber qi was, the stronger it was. The more spiritual energy he had, the better. The natal saber qi was less likely to be exhausted. With my current mental strength, I can barely slash out 3 natal saber qis. Seriously speaking, should be able to slash out 3 times. My spiritual energy is actually not very strong. At least he isn't a pervert. Xiaofan understood. However, this extinguishing sky decimating earth mental technique is a technique that refines one's mental energy. Astonishingly, Xiaofan was pleasantly surprised. The stronger I refine my mental power, the more terrifying the power of my natal saber qi. Moreover, the easier it is to comprehend saber intent to the godly state. That's right. To open the door to the saber realm, one had to rely on mental strength. Theoretically speaking, once one's mental strength reached a certain level, it would directly soar into the sky and rush beyond the clouds to sense the mysterious saber realm gate. His mental strength was weak. On one hand, the mental strength in the brain was not sharp enough. On the other hand, it could not soar high into the sky, into the vast universe, into the void. This is the extinguishing heaven decimating earth mental art. When cultivated to the extreme, one's mental energy will go from vaporized to liquefied, from liquefied to solidified. In other words, the gaseous mental power would eventually condense into a solid, incomparably hard. In the brain, it would form a mental sphere. Right now, my mental strength is only vaporized, and it doesn't seem to have any signs of liquefying. Looks like, according to the classification of the extinguishing heaven decimating earth mental art, my mental strength is still at the lowest level, the cultivation of this extinguishing heaven decimating earth mental art. Xiaofan raised his head slightly and looked at the floating golden Buddhas. It's very simple. There are a total of 28 golden Buddhas. Each of the golden Buddhas performed a spiritual finger seal that contained endless profundities. Cultivating the extinguishing heaven decimating earth mental art is, in fact, cultivating these 28 sets of mental finger techniques. The 1st to 10th sets of mental finger techniques belong to the cultivation of vaporizing mental energy. Continuously increasing the quantity of mental energy and gradually strengthening it. This causes the mental energy to spread out endlessly in the boundless sea of consciousness like a fog. The 11th to 20th sets of mental finger techniques belong to the cultivation of liquefying mental energy. Completely liquefying the gaseous mental energy to increase the density of the mental energy, causing the mental energy to undergo a qualitative transformation. After liquefying, some dark golden fragments will appear in the mental energy. This is the sign of solidification. The 21st to 28th sets of mental finger techniques, solidifying mental energy. Causing mental energy to turn from liquid to solid. Turning into a ball of mental energy. This ball of mental energy is like a star in the brain. As long as one's cultivation reaches this stage, even if the physical body is destroyed, it will not be affected at all. One can use the ball of mental energy to take over another body or reconstruct the physical body. As long as the mental energy does not die, one will never die. One will be completely invincible. Furthermore, once one has reached this stage, one's mental energy can roam in outer space and travel unhindered through the universe. One need not be afraid of cosmic storms, cosmic black holes, and other physical attacks. Furthermore, when one's mental energy is strong enough to be in a solid state, the brain is like a star. With a direct explosion, it can even destroy a plane. Use mental energy to destroy a plane. However, the cultivation of mental energy also places great importance on the strengthening and cultivation of the physical body. Mental energy and the physical body complement each other. The physical body is the foundation of mental energy. It is the carrier. After all, mental energy can only be nurtured in the human body and become strong. When the mental energy is strong and the physical body is weak, one will become a madman and explode in the end. To cultivate to the point of solidifying mental energy and forming a mental energy star in the brain, one will definitely need a body that is so strong that it can tear apart mountains with one hand, shatter the ocean with one palm, and pluck the stars and the moon. Cultivating mental energy can allow one to have many divine abilities. For example, mental energy can be illusory and real. It is much stranger than true qi. In reality, it can contain an astonishing amount of power. It can control objects from a distance and kill enemies from 10,000 miles away. Moreover, similarly, mental energy can also be like true qi, shape-shifting. At will, mental energy can be transformed into mountains and rivers, all living things, dragons and tigers, weapons. Illusory, it can silently penetrate into a person's heart and kill the enemy without a sound. Mental energy seeps into the enemy's sea of consciousness. Attack. Destroy the enemy's brain. Ha 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 ha, I got it. As long as I solidify my mental energy and form a mental star in my brain, then I will definitely be able to cultivate the saber intent into spirit. That's right. From the moment the life saber chi was born. Saber intent is actually a type of mental energy. Or rather, it is to use the saber Dao and saber intent to control mental energy. To form a terrifying attack effect. Ha 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 ha. I, Xiaofan, have finally reached the threshold. Cultivating mental energy. I can achieve the peerless saber Dao. I, Xiaofan, have finally found a clear path for my cultivation. Xiaofan was ecstatic. After a while, his intense emotions finally calmed down. He continued to research. Purify. It is a simple use of mental energy. In this extinguishing heaven and earth mental technique, as long as I complete the 5th mental finger gesture, I can forcefully purify some targets. However, completing the 5th mental finger gesture can only purify targets at the 5th stage of true qi. After completing the 7th mental finger gesture, I can only purify targets at the 6th stage of true qi and the expanded acupoint realm. For targets at the 7th stage of true qi and the talisman transformation realm, it is very difficult to purify them. The requirement for mental energy is also very high. At the very least, one must reach the liquefaction of mental energy. Let's not worry about that for now. What I want to purify now is Yen Lang. Yen Lang, that old brat, is at the peak of the expanded acupoint realm. His expanded acupoint is dozens of times more powerful than the average expanded acupoint realm. From the looks of it, I must complete 7 or 8 mental finger gestures before I can purify Yen Lang. I understand now. Tempering mental energy, step by step, vaporizing, liquefying, solidifying. My mental energy is still at the low end of vaporizing. However, I have even comprehended the mastery saber intent and natal saber chi. Then, my mental energy should be stronger than the average true chi cultivator, right? Alright. Let's see how many mental finger gestures I can complete. If I complete 7 mental finger gestures, I have a 50% chance of purifying Yen Lang. If I complete 8 mental finger gestures, I have an 80% chance. If I complete 9 mental finger gestures, I have a 100% chance. Of course, if I can only complete 6 mental finger gestures, or less, I can only threaten Yen Lang to cooperate with me and willingly release his mental energy for me to purify. Xiaofan formed hand gestures with both of his hands and practiced according to the first Golden Buddha's finger gesture. Xiaofan completed the first set of mental finger gestures smoothly and easily. It could even be said that he was very familiar with it. Moreover, as the first set of mental finger gestures was completed, traces of soul throbbing spread throughout Xiaofan's body, causing his brain to go numb. The golden mental energy in his brain actually strengthened a little, and the amount of mental energy also increased a little. Feels good, it feels so good. Xiaofan exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. Continuously practicing these mental finger gestures can increase my mental energy. The second set of mental finger gestures was also completed easily. His mental energy strengthened once again, and the amount of mental energy increased by quite a bit. The third set of mental finger gestures was not a problem. The fourth set of mental finger gestures was still not a problem. The fifth set of mental finger gestures was slightly paused in the middle, but it was only for a short while. It was still completed smoothly. Like a hot knife through butter. Not bad. My mental energy is not bad. Let's see if I can directly liquefy the gaseous mental energy. Xiaofan was elated. Practice the sixth set of mental finger gestures. Xiaofan's hands moved like butterflies. With the completion of the first 5 sets of mental finger gestures, Xiaofan's natal saber chi also became much thicker. The saber intent became stronger and stronger. However, unexpectedly, the sixth set of mental finger gestures was extremely difficult to practice. The difficulty was actually more than 10 times higher than the first 5. Xiaofan paused continuously in the middle and stumbled. It took him almost 4 hours and more than 100 pauses before he finally completed the sixth set of mental finger gestures. Tired mentally, in an instant, Xiaofan lay down on his back and panted heavily. His face was pale. His forehead was full of cold sweat. After resting for a full 5 hours, Xiaofan finally regained his strength. Looks like my mental energy is about to reach its limit. However, I still need to try and break through the 7th set of mental finger gestures. Xiaofan formed a hand gesture with both hands and formed the 7th set of mental finger gestures. Break. Break. Break again. To be continued. Chapter 407. Xiaofan went into seclusion to cultivate the extinguishing heaven decimating earth mental technique. A technique that specialized in tempering one's mental power was extremely rare. Even in the immortal world, it was as rare as a phoenix feather or a unicorn horn. It could be said that Xiaofan had stumbled upon a treasure by accident. This mental technique had a total of 28 sets of mental finger techniques. Xiaofan had reached the 6th set of mental finger techniques and was currently fiercely practicing the 7th set. Xiaofan's hands moved like butterflies. All sorts of exquisite hand gestures and unimaginable movements combined to form a complete set of mental finger techniques. Moreover, during the process of practicing this set of mental finger techniques, the mental power within Xiaofan's boundless sea of consciousness was constantly strengthening and increasing the amount of mental power. The gaseous mental power became denser and denser like the morning mist. However, the seventh set of mental finger techniques was too complicated and profound. When Xiaofan was practicing, he only felt that it was incomparably jerky. There were many minute movements that he was unable to master, resulting in many broken points. Moreover, with Xiaofan's current mental power, it seemed that it was not enough to perfectly control the seventh set of mental finger techniques. During the process of practicing this mental finger technique, Xiaofan's mental power felt as if it was being squeezed out and was close to being overdrawn. This caused Xiaofan to have no choice but to stop every time he reached a broken point. His mind was blank, his body was weak, and he was panting like an ox. Damn it, the cultivation of mental power is really not that easy. Xiaofan's face was pale. He simply laid down and panted heavily. This seventh set of mental finger techniques has a total of 108 subtle hand gestures. I am unable to perfectly practice it in one go. There will be 28 broken points in the middle, 108 hand gestures, and he had to pause 28 times in the middle. Damn it! This young master doesn't believe that I can't practice this seventh set of mental finger techniques. Continue practicing. If I don't practice the seventh set of mental finger techniques, this young master will not come out. Xiaofan was practically gnashing his teeth. Just like that, one day and one night passed. Phew, there are only 17 broken points left. There is progress. Do your best. Another day passed. There are still 11 broken points left. Ha ha ha. I am close to success. The third day passed. There are only 4 broken points left. The full moon hung high in the sky. A celestial appearance was revealed. Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue stood guard outside a wooden pavilion with anxious and worried expressions. What's going on? Senior sister Shirong, do you think? Do you think uncle? Did something happen to him? He has already been in seclusion for 3 days and 3 nights and hasn't come out. Jing Yanxue asked Lan Shirong with a sobbing tone. Yanxue, don't scare me. Seclusion, it's just seclusion. The uncle was so valiant, he definitely wouldn't be able to come out of seclusion in a short period of time. Perhaps, he is comprehending some kind of divine technique or absolute art. Once he comes out of seclusion, he will be invincible under the heavens. Lan Shirong consoled. However, she seemed to be in a trance. He paused for a moment. Let's report this matter to the sect master, the 4th day. See. Xiaofan's hands moved at lightning speed, dragging out a series of afterimages. If someone were to see Xiaofan's hand speed and gestures, they would definitely be dazzled. As Xiaofan's hand gestures changed constantly, strands of sparkling and translucent Buddhist light emerged from Xiaofan's 5 fingers and danced non-stop. Countless strands of glazed Buddhist light drilled into Xiaofan's forehead like rivers flowing into the sea. Xiaofan's entire head emitted a pure and holy halo. That was a halo formed when one's mental power reached a certain degree of density. Suddenly. Done. Xiaofan's hands formed the final gesture of the 7th spiritual finger technique. There wasn't a single break in between. It was done in one go. Like moving clouds and flowing water. When the conditions were right, success was achieved. Everything was logical. The 7th spiritual finger technique was perfectly performed. There was no delay. Boom! Following the completion of the 7th spiritual finger technique, Xiaofan's brain region burst out with a throbbing that went deep into his spinal cord and expanded. In his sea of consciousness, the volume of the gaseous mental power seemed to have increased by a large circle. Moreover, the density of his mental power had increased. This ball of gaseous spiritual energy seemed to be showing signs of liquefying. Xiaofan's mental power was strengthened and the amount of mental power increased. Now, Xiaofan activated his life saber qi and slashed out. The volume of the saber qi was as thick as a water bucket and was 1,000 meters long. It was enough to instantly kill most of the ancient giants. Without using demonic techniques or true qi, he could directly use his mental power to activate his life saber qi and kill an ancient giant, without leaving a trace. However, Xiaofan could only use this life saber qi a few times now. After using it, the consumption of mental power would be more severe than the consumption of his flesh shell and true qi. Thus, Xiaofan wouldn't use this life saber qi often. He would keep it as his trump card. Unless it was absolutely necessary, Xiaofan wouldn't use it. Xiaofan opened his eyes, and a bright light burst out from his pupils, mixed with the shadows of swords and sabers, layer upon layer. The entire secret chamber glowed with a kind of sunlight, blue sea, clear sky, and a supreme artistic conception of a cloudless 10,000 li. Furthermore, in Xiaofan's vision, everything he saw was several times clearer than before. The entire world seemed to have more layers and the colors were more vivid. Mental power and soul have become stronger. Xiaofan nodded his head in satisfaction. The seventh set of spiritual finger technique has been perfectly cultivated. Now, I can try to forcefully enlighten Yen. Yes, as long as he cultivated the seventh set of spiritual finger technique, he would be able to enlighten ordinary cultivators of the expanded acupoint realm. Within the Despair Demon compound, at this moment, Yen Lang was in the courtyard, refining a pill with a medicinal cauldron. That was the antidote that Xiaofan had ordered Yen Lang to refine for Xiao Yunrong. Damn it! Yen Lang's face was gloomy as a deep hatred flashed across his eyes. The corner of his mouth twitched as his expression became extremely sinister. I never thought that I, Yen Lang, a hero of a lifetime, would actually be taken advantage of by a brat who is still wet behind the ears. I actually had no choice but to become his slave. This is truly a great shame and humiliation. Yes, this brat is very powerful. At such a young age, he is already able to run amok in the demon metropolis. Almost no one below the demon emperor is a match for him. But what kind of person is my Yen Lang? The greatest alchemist in the myriad of worlds. He was also a genius that only appeared once in 10,000 years. Even in the demon metropolis, those demon emperors were extremely respectful to me and treated me like a distinguished guest. That Xiaofan is powerful, but is he more powerful than the 10 great demon emperors? How despicable. He captured me from the demon metropolis and even deprived me of my protective treasure. Now, my life and death are completely in his hands. As long as he throws me out and gets caught by those old fellows from the Demon Hero Tower, I will definitely suffer the torture of thousands of blades and be miserable beyond words. No, I, Yen Lang, cannot be toyed with by Xiaofan like this. I have to think of a way to deal with that guy. Right now, I have to pretend to be courteous to him and gain his trust. Then, I have to think of a way to refine some pills to control him. You want me, Yen Lang, to be your slave? Humph. One day, Xiaofan, you brat, will call me master instead. Oh. Master Yen Lang, what are you muttering to yourself here? Xiaofan's spirit wave took form and arrived at the Despair Demon compound. He looked at Yen Lang with a smile that was not a smile. This. Xiao. Master. I didn't say anything. Yen Lang quickly gathered his thoughts and squeezed out a fawning expression. I'm refining the antidote for Master. N. Xiaofan nodded and said with a smile that did not reach his eyes. Yen Lang, I see that you seem to be very dissatisfied with me. Hearing this, the muscles at the corner of Yen Lang's eyes twitched slightly, and then he quickly said, No, Master, Yen Lang does not dare to be dissatisfied. Yen Lang's life is in Master's hands. Is that so? I don't think so. Do you think that I don't know just because you're blabbering here? Humph. Yen Lang, you are arrogant and unruly. As expected, you have evil intentions and want to betray me. My guess is correct. As the most outstanding alchemist in this plane, you once enjoyed boundless glory in the demon metropolis and sat on the throne. How could you sincerely become my, Xiaofan's, slave? Suddenly, Xiaofan let out a stern roar. His voice was ice-cold, as if it wanted to freeze the air in the despair demon compound into ice. It seems like you are stubborn. Since you can't be used by me, then I can only kill you. However, I will not kill you. This time, when I return to the Demon Hero Tower, I have already told the Tower Master about your matter. He hopes that I will hand you over to him to deal with. Ha 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 ha. I will hand you over right now. Ah. No. No. Master. I was wrong. Please don't hand me over to those sanctimonious demon heroes. Immediately, Xiaofan's scare caused Yen Lang's face to turn ashen. His entire body trembled as he let out a heart-wrenching scream. This is the time. Xiaofan wanted to deliberately scare Yen Lang, causing a flaw in Yen Lang's heart and brain, so that he could take advantage of it. Boom! In an instant, all of Xiaofan's mental power turned into a flood dragon and forcefully rushed into Yen Lang's brain. Xiaofan's mental power forcefully controlled Yen Lang's soul. Ah! Ah! No! In an instant, Yen Lang let out a sound like a pig being slaughtered and rolled on the ground. He was in extreme pain and felt as if his brain was about to melt. At this moment, Xiaofan's mental power was controlling Yen Lang's soul inch by inch. This was the so-called enlightenment. This was forceful enlightenment. However, this Yen Lang's soul is struggling and resisting. It is a little difficult for me to completely enlighten him. Unfortunately, I have only mastered the seventh finger technique. Now, I only have 50% to 60% confidence to forcefully enlighten Yen Lang. Because Yen Lang is an expert in the expanded acupoint realm, I have to master the eighth finger technique in order to be absolutely safe. However, the arrow is already on the bow and it has to be released. I have to enlighten him. Yen Lang. Do you want your soul to be destroyed? Quickly open up your heart and soul. You cannot resist. Otherwise, your brain will explode and you will die. Xiaofan's voice resounded in Yen Lang's brain. Ah! Xiaofan. You have the ambition of a wolf. You actually want to plant a seed of faith in me so that I, Yen Lang, will forget myself and willingly become your slave. Ah Xiaofan, you are even scarier than the demon race. You are even more evil than the demon race. Ah, damn it, you are quite stubborn. Xiaofan became impatient. His mental power frantically wrapped around Yen Lang's soul and rubbed it continuously. Ah no. No. Stop. I can't take it anymore. Alright, Xiaofan, I am willing to surrender. I am willing to open up my soul. Don't torture me anymore. Yen Lang couldn't bear it anymore and roared. Finally, Yen Lang completely handed over his heart and soul. He no longer struggled and resisted. Following that, light and shadows appeared from Yen Lang's forehead and the back of his head at the same time. Among these light and shadows, there was a virtual image of Xiaofan who was sitting cross-legged and chanting. Yen Lang, you have committed grave sins in your life. You have betrayed the human race and are ungrateful. Why don't you let go of your obsession and guide my spirit into your soul to form a brand and purify you? To wash away your sins? Yes, yes, yes. I, Yen Lang, will accept Master's purification. Yen Lang put his palms together and his face was filled with sincerity. After 10 breaths, Xiaofan's mental power came out from Yen Lang's forehead and condensed into a human figure again. He looked at Yen Lang with a smile. I have successfully branded my aura in Yen Lang's soul. Now, Yan Lang will never be able to betray me for the rest of his life. He is willing to be my slave and puppet. Even if I ask him to commit suicide immediately, he will not hesitate. This extinguishing heaven and earth mental power is indeed miraculous. At this moment, Yan Lang suddenly stood up and sincerely worshipped Xiaofan. He then knelt down and kowtowed. Thank you, Master, for helping Yan Lang get rid of this evil fate. At this moment, Yan Lang's heart is unprecedentedly calm. Everything that happened in the past is a sin. Now, only by serving Master with peace of mind and bravely striving to be the first can I relieve the guilt on my conscience. Not bad. Xiaofan nodded and smiled. Actually, there is nothing wrong with following me, Xiaofan. From now on, my 2 wives will learn the art of alchemy from you. Don't keep it to yourself. Teach them all your experience and skills. Yes, Master. Yan Lang's eyes flickered with an almost blind admiration towards Xiaofan. To be continued. Update quick text. Chapter 408. I have indeed succeeded in reforming Yan Lang. Xiaofan heaved a sigh of relief and smiled at Yan Lang, who had a pious expression, as if he was going to kneel down to him at any time. Right now, Xiaofan's soul had formed a mysterious connection with Yan Lang. The two of them seemed to have formed a contract. And it was very obvious that this was not an equal contract, it was a master and servant contract. What made Xiaofan feel very interesting and fresh was that when he looked at Yan Lang, he even had an illusion. It was as if he was looking at a hunting dog that he had raised. A loyal dog. Or a squirrel, a tabby cat that knew how to wag its tail and beg in front of its master. What was even more inconceivable was that Xiaofan had planted his own imprint in Yan Lang's soul. With just a thought, he could erase Yan Lang's soul. Completing the 7th finger incantation can barely reform Yan Lang, who is at the peak of the expanding point realm and has long been known as a genius alchemist of the demon capital. Fortunately, Yan Lang took the initiative to open his soul, allowing me to take advantage of the situation. However, to reform a cultivator at the talisman transformation realm, my mental power is obviously not enough. I must have at least completed the 11th spiritual hand incantation before I can try. After the previous small test, Xiaofan quickly summed up his experience. Master, may I ask when you will introduce the 2 mistresses to this old servant? At this moment, Yan Lang looked at Xiaofan with flattery. This old servant will definitely rack his brains and teach them everything he has learned in the path of alchemy. He will not hold anything back. Follow me out first. Xiaofan smiled. Go out? Yan Lang's body trembled. In fact, from an instinctive desire, Yan Lang did not like to be imprisoned in this despair demon compound for eternity. Under the premise of ensuring his safety, Yan Lang also wanted to go out. Master, if this old servant goes out rashly, this. Yan Lang was slightly nervous. It's fine. I just want you to go out for a while. With a thought, Xiaofan and Yan Lang disappeared from the despair demon compound at the same time. This is the Purity Mountain Range, the mountain peak that belongs to me. Xiaofan said with a smile. This is my seclusion room. Under normal circumstances, no one will disturb me. Yes, Master. Yan Lang looked around. Then, he sighed. It's been tens of thousands of years since I left the human world. This time, I'm returning with Master. Sigh. Everything feels like a lifetime ago. He walked to the wall and gently stroked the few small ornaments hanging on the wall. Just then, Sect Master and eldest senior brother have arrived. After cultivating the extinguishing heaven decimating earth mental technique, Xiaofan's mental energy had opened up a miraculous path. Not only had it been strengthened, it had also formed a type of mental sensation. He could clearly sense any movement within 100 miles. Every blade of grass, every tree, every mountain, every rock, every person, and every object. He could observe them down to the smallest detail, as if he was looking at the lines on his palm. Yen Lang, stay here obediently and don't run around. Otherwise, if someone finds out and beats you to death, you deserve it. Xiaofan warned. Don't worry, master. This old servant understands. Yen Lang bowed slightly. Outside the wooden loft, the sun was shining brightly. Jing Yanxue and Lan Shirong had already reported the matter of Xiaofan continuously cultivating in seclusion for 4 days to Lord Wu. Lord Wu was worried that Xiaofan would go berserk after cultivating the incomplete secret technique. Thus, he didn't dare to be negligent and led Xiao Mingchu, Fang Ling, and Dongfang Qin to Xiaohan's true inheritance mountain peak. Sect Master, Senior Brothers. You're here. Xiaohan went out to welcome them with a face full of happiness. Xiao Mingchu glanced at Xiaohan and then winked at Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue. Sisters-in-law, you two are too worried about your good husband. Look, isn't he fine? Ha ha ha. Being worried makes one confused. This is being worried makes one confused. I already said that with junior brother Xiaohan's temperament, it's almost impossible for him to go berserk. Jing Yanxue and Lan Shirong's suspenseful hearts finally calmed down when they saw Xiaohan walking out in high spirits. They shyly lowered their heads. This brat's spirit and bearing is even better than before. Even his temperament has undergone some subtle changes. Could it be that he has gained something from studying the incomplete secret technique? Lord Wu's eyes revealed a deep suspicion when he looked at Xiaohan and couldn't help but mutter to himself. Even our sect has studied the incomplete secret technique of purification for a long time. Our sect has even invited some of our ancient great friends to study and comprehend it together. In the end, we all agreed that it's almost impossible to cultivate. There's simply no trace of it. If one forcefully cultivates it, he will definitely go berserk. Xiaohan can't be that heaven-defying, right? With just a fragment of it, he managed to deduce this ancient secret technique? Xiaohan walked over with a smile. Xiaohan, did you cultivate that secret technique? Lord Wu finally couldn't help but ask. Sect Master, I have my own understanding of it. Xiaohan touched his hair and said ambiguously. My mental strength has been tempered a little. This disciple's mental strength has become more stable and full. However, if I really want to cultivate it, I'm afraid it will take a long time. This time, when I go to the genius zone, I hope to gradually perfect this mental strength. As expected, it's a mental strength cultivation technique. Lord Wu pondered for a while and nodded. Xiaohan, mental strength cultivation technique is rare in this world. How rare is it? In our plane, there isn't a complete set of mental strength cultivation technique. If you really manage to deduce some clues from the incomplete secret technique and can cultivate it without suffering from qi deviation, then don't give up so easily. Study and cultivate diligently. Cultivating the mental strength cultivation technique will definitely allow you to reach a higher level. Yes, Sect Master. Xiaohan quickly nodded. Xiaohan, you are indeed a world-shocking talent. Lord Wu sighed in admiration. Then, he changed the topic. Oh right, Xiaohan, about the genius zone, you should talk to Mingchu. A few days ago, Mingchu received a private message from the Devil Hero Tower's Tower Master. Oh? Xiaohan was stunned and looked at Xiao Mingchu. Xiao Mingchu smiled. Junior brother Xiaohan, the Tower Master and the Elders have already come out of seclusion. They allowed you to enter the Genius Zone to fight for the Celestial Emperor's treasure. Due to this reason, the number of people entering the Genius Zone has been reduced from the original 102 to 103. The water gurgled. Withered vines accompanied old trees. Xiaohan and Xiao Mingchu walked side by side on a small mountain path and chatted with each other. Junior brother Xiaohan, the Tower Master personally sent me a message and asked me to pass it to you. Xiao Mingchu smiled. The Tower Master has already forgiven you for all your previous mistakes. He also promised to focus on nurturing you. He will give you a spot to enter the Genius Zone. Xiaofan sneered and didn't say anything. In his heart, however, there were many thoughts. The Tower Master and the Elders are really hypocritical. Previously, they threatened me to let me enter the demon metropolis. In reality, they wanted me to die. Now that I've come back alive, they must be very disappointed, right? They didn't pursue this matter because they want me to work for them again, to enter the Genius Zone and take back the celestial treasure for them. Xiaoming looked at Xiaohan and nodded at him. Junior brother Xiaohan, the Tower Master is using you. I know this as well. Your luck is too prosperous and unstoppable. There are too many experts in the Genius Zone. At that time, not only will you need strength to speak, but luck will also be very important. To be honest, luck might be more important than strength. Xiaohan shrugged and said solemnly. Eldest senior brother, I've personally seen the Tower Master's face. In short, he's not a good person. He'll do anything to achieve his goal. It's not wrong to say that he's sanctimonious. Thus, if we can get the treasure from the Genius Zone, we'll enjoy it ourselves. There's no need to share it. Of course. Xiao Mingchu nodded. Alright, junior brother Xiaohan, we'll be heading to the Wuxia Pagoda in 2 days to discuss the matters of entering the Genius Zone. Alright, eldest senior brother, let's go together then. Xiaohan's eyes flickered with anticipation and battle intent. This kind of quiet days is really boring. The Genius Zone is full of ups and downs. All the outstanding geniuses from the various planes will gather there. At that time, we'll have to rely on our own methods to seize the Celestial Emperor's treasure. Just thinking about it makes me inexplicably excited. Ha ha ha. Good boy. Xiao Mingchu smiled and patted Xiaohan's shoulder. Back then, when I brought you to the ancient village to train, you were still a young child. Even when facing an existence like the Great Sun Emperor, you didn't even have the ability to protect yourself. But now, you've grown. I'm far from being a match for you, eldest senior brother. If it wasn't for your help, I would have died in the hands of the Great Sun Son of Heaven. Moreover, it was you who brought me to the Great Desolation ancient village and tempered me to build a solid foundation for my future cultivation. I won't forget your kindness. Xiaohan bowed deeply to Xiao Mingchu. Ha ha ha, you're exaggerating. You and I are from the same sect and we're as close as brothers. There's no need to be so polite. Xiao Mingchu smiled and winked. Junior brother Xiaohan, your little princess Mo Hen is still waiting for you in the ancient village. What do you say? This? Xiaohan was startled. His mind couldn't help but think of the naive, romantic, kind-hearted, and incomparably gentle Princess Mo Hen. Alright, I'll immediately send someone to the Great Desolation ancient village to bring Princess Mo Hen and her thousands of servants to the pure sect. When we return from the Genius Zone, you can stay with her. Ha ha ha. Xiao Mingchu laughed. Eldest senior brother, this. Xiaohan was slightly embarrassed. Junior brother Xiaohan, you don't have to worry about this. Leave it to me. 2 days later, we'll go to the Wuxia Pagoda. That's the most important thing. The Genius Zone is the only opportunity for humans from the ordinary planes to become immortals. Xiao Mingchu said in a serious tone. On the second day. On the True Inheritance Mountain where Xiaohan resided. Inside a stone house. This stone house was filled with medicinal cauldrons, medicinal hose, medicinal chests, as well as many colorful medicinal herbs. It was a dazzling array. At this moment, Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue were standing in front of a medicine cauldron each. They lit a fire and carefully put in different amounts of medicinal herbs. They were concentrating on concocting pills. Yan Lang and Xiaohan stood at the side. Good. Good. Both of you ladies are extremely talented in concocting pills. Yan Lang cheered loudly. Within 5 years, you can inherit a part of my legacy. Xiaofan had already warned Yan Lang not to address Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue as master or mistress. Thank you for your praise, great master. Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue were overjoyed. This way, we can concoct all kinds of pills for uncle in the future. The two girls' eyes lit up. Thank you for your guidance, great master. Xiaofan also nodded happily. Tomorrow, I'll follow eldest senior brother to the Wuxia pagoda. Great master Yan Lang, you can stay in the pure sect and teach Lan Shirong and Yanxue the art of concocting pills. Don't worry, with the sect master here, no one will dare to trespass the pure sect. Yan Lang bowed respectfully. To be continued. Update quick text. Chapter 409. What made Xiaofan very happy was that his two wives, Jing Yanxue and Lan Shirong, were indeed from the Medicine King Valley. In front of Yan Lang, they did their best to refine an ordinary pill each. But they received Yan Lang's high evaluation. The two women were very talented in alchemy. Whether it was in the amount of herbs, the understanding of fire control, the cooperation between the ministers, or even the smell of herbs, they were all outstanding. Yan Lang promised Xiaofan that within 5 years at most, the two women would become the best alchemists in this dimension. Their future was limitless. In this way, including Yan Lang, I will have a total of 3 top-grade alchemists after a few years. This will be extremely beneficial and helpful for me to train my true qi, strengthen my flesh shell, and even nurture my mental energy in order to practice the destroying sky-destroying earth mental skill. Xiaofan was also extremely satisfied in his heart. According to Yan Lang's description, he would refine a top-grade pill that could nourish and strengthen mental strength, but the ingredients for this pill were very rare. The focus of Xiaofan's cultivation was actually on mental strength. Hearing this news, Xiaofan was also secretly happy. Cloud Sect Hall. In the back garden with the fragrance of flowers and ethereal charm. Wu Li sat at the stone table, tasting a pot of tea. Xiaohan, Xiao Mingchu, Dongfang Qin, and Fang Ling were on his left and right. Xiaohan, Mingchu, we will be leaving for the Wuxia pagoda to discuss the matter of entering the genius zone. Maybe you will not be able to return to the sect in time. Our sect is not qualified to travel with you. Go in peace, don't worry. Wu Li said indifferently. Go, even if you can't get the celestial treasure, it's good to see the experts of other dimensions and broaden your horizons. The most important thing is to stay alive. After a pause, Wu Li's expression became extremely serious. Listen, Xiaohan, Mingchu, a moment of success or failure does not mean anything. Staying alive is more important than anything else. To be flexible, sometimes you can't be too impulsive. When you meet an opponent you can't defeat, you must know when to give up, and be flexible. We don't want to lose the two of you, our most esteemed disciples. In fact, you should understand that this is not a show of weakness. There are too many planes in the universe, and the geniuses born from them are not something we can imagine. What I can be sure of is that there must be some freakish existences among the geniuses from the other planes who have entered the genius zone. Some of them are existences you can't defeat, and some of them are even existences who can kill you in an instant with a wave of their hand. Therefore, he had to be mentally prepared. One must not be conceited and blinded by a single leaf. Once you leave this plane, you will no longer be geniuses. Yes, Xiaohan and Xiao Mingchu answered at the same time. Eldest senior brother, junior brother Xiaohan, work hard. You'll definitely be able to gain something in the genius zone. We are all looking forward to your triumphant return at the Pure Rain sect. Dongfang Qin and Fang Ling encouraged at the same time. What else do you have to say to this sect? The Crow Lord said solemnly. I've always been a wild crane with no worries. I don't have anything to tell you. Xiao Mingchu smiled. However, sect leader, if I'm unfortunate enough to fall in the genius zone, please help me find a secluded place in the Unity Mountain range to build a grave. This. Xiaofan scratched his head. Sect leader, please help me find a disciple of the Sword Villa named Xiao Yunrong. There's no news of Yunrong now, and we don't know if she's dead or alive. She's poisoned and there's less than 2 years before the poison takes effect. I'm really worried. If sect leader can find Yunrong, please go to Yanxue and Shirong to get the antidote to save Yunrong. Also, I hope sect leader can take care of Yanxue, Shirong, and Princess Mo Hen who's about to reach the Unity Mountain range. Find Xiao Yunrong, take care of Yanxue, Shirong, and Princess Mo Hen. The Crow Lord repeated and nodded solemnly. Xiaofan, this sect will remember. After a pause, the Crow Lord stared at Xiaofan. Xiaofan, if Yanxue and Shirong have your flesh and blood, how will they be named? This. Xiaofan hesitated for a moment, before smiling. No matter if it's a man or a woman, they'll all think of the 2 words Yun and Yu. Oh right, sect leader, if I die in the genius area, please build my grave in the Unity Mountain range. It's best to build it on the True Inheritance Mountain peak. Xiaofan said with a smile. The Crow Lord shook his hand and said with a serious expression. Xiaofan, you and Mingchu both have great luck and shouldn't die. Go remember, come back alive, East Domain. This plane was known as the most powerful and prosperous among the 4 domains of the human race. It was the East Domain that produced the most geniuses in history. In the mountains. In this area of green mountains, there was only a huge mountain in the middle that reached the sky, but it was red. Scarlet red. It was a volcano. This volcano emitted a kind of terrifying pressure that made one's heart palpitate. At this moment, in the sky above the mountains, suddenly, a strong wind blew, and the whole sky rippled. In the next moment, a white-clothed man walked out of the wind. His body was full of true qi, and densely packed talisman formations interweaved and flickered. An aura that could destroy heaven and earth spread out, causing the mountains to shake. This man's body was filled with a fierce evil aura. His body constantly emitted evil, powerful, violent, and even murderous, destructive, and dark aura. However, when he looked at the volcano, his eyes were full of respect. He murmured. The genius area. This time, Teacher Yan Qi can actually go to the nest left behind by the Immortal Emperor. It's a pity that I'm older than Teacher Yan Qi by a few thousand years. Otherwise, I, Huang Tianli, can also go to the genius area. It's a pity. Huang Tianli, there's nothing to be sorry about. I heard from Teacher Yan Qi that there are countless super geniuses from other planes going to the genius area this time. The competition will be very fierce. Although we are all great figures on the monster hero ranking and people at the peak of the talisman formation realm, even if there's no age limit and we can go, I'm afraid that we won't be able to obtain the treasures and will die in the genius area. A beautiful woman's voice sounded. After that, a rift was abruptly torn open in space, and numerous graceful young women who wore light muslin and ribbons walked through space. They held horsetail whisks, incense burners, lanterns, and jade basins, and all of them gracefully walked out of the rift. These girls were all at the true energy realm. They were not to be underestimated. Behind these women, there was also a powerful aura hibernating. Princess Red Lotus, you've come as well. The white-robed man, Huang Tianli, smiled. How could I not come? We've all been taught by Teacher Yan Qi. That's why we've been able to continuously improve in the cultivation of true energy. We've killed mutated demon monarchs time and time again and obtained the title of great figures. This time, Teacher Yan Qi has summoned me. I've traveled 1,000 miles to come. As Xiao Chen spoke, red lotuses bloomed everywhere in the air. It was a beautiful sight to behold. Then, a red-robed girl stepped out from the crowd. The girls holding lanterns, jade basins, and incense burners all knelt on one knee. The red-robed girl's face was very gentle and pretty. She looked like a budding girl, but her eyes were incomparably ancient. It was as if she could see through all the love and hatred in the mortal world. There was not a single part of her body that did not flow with the mysteries of true energy. The jade-like true talismans formed an array. Good, Princess Red Lotus. Teacher Yan Qi's teachings were not in vain. You've also reached the peak of the talisman formation realm. You only need to open one more acupoint and you'll reach the true energy realm of the 9th stage, Huang Tianli praised. Let's not waste time. Let's go greet Teacher Yan Qi first. Princess Red Lotus and Huang Tianli flew all the way to the top of the volcano. It was a deep and scorching cave filled with boiling lava that led directly into the belly of the mountain. Princess Red Lotus and Huang Tianli did not hesitate at all. They shot into the cave. They fell for tens of thousands of meters before reaching the bottom. Poof, poof, poof. The scorching lava roasted the metallic stone walls. Teacher Yan Qi, Huang Tianli, and Princess Red Lotus greet you. Come in, an indifferent voice rang out. At the same time, a crack rang out. A stone wall suddenly rose up, revealing a red space within. A terrifying wave of heat hit them in the face. Huang Tianli and Princess Red Lotus entered without hesitation. Their expressions were extremely respectful. The red space inside the stone wall was actually a large lake of lava. The terrifying red lava continuously bubbled, evaporated, and exploded. The scene was extremely shocking. What was even more shocking was that in the center of the lava lake, there was a middle-aged man in a red robe. His hands were behind his back, and he seemed to be floating above the lava lake. Both his eyebrows and hair were crimson in color. Furthermore, his hair reached his waist and fluttered in the wind. If one were to look closely, they would see that his eyebrows, hair, and even his entire body were burning with flames. His face was as cold as a stone statue, and his eyes were extremely sharp. His every movement gave off an extremely domineering feeling. A sovereign overlooking the world. At any time and place, he exuded a pressure that made people's hearts palpitate. Dense red talismans tumbled out of his body and merged into the lava flames. Teacher Yan Qi. Huang Tianli and Princess Red Lotus bowed in greeting. Yan Qi. An ancient giant on the monster ranking. He was ranked 77th. Strictly speaking, this ranking was below average in all of the ancient giants. However, Yan Qi was very young. He was only a little over 9,000 years old. Not only was he the youngest ancient giant, but he was even younger than most of the ancient giants on the monster ranking. Without a doubt, this person was a genius. At least in this plane, he was a genius among geniuses. Huang Tianli, Princess Red Lotus, I called you here today because I want you to help me take care of some of the empires that I rule and take care of my family. This time, I'm going to the Genius Zone. It's no small matter. I have to compete with many geniuses from other planes. I don't know if I can return safely. Yan Qi's eyes burned with great ambition and aspiration. Teacher Yan Qi, with your battle prowess, even if you encounter geniuses from other planes, you can crush them. You will definitely return victorious. We will wait here for your good news, Huang Tianli and Princess Red Lotus said at the same time. It's fine. Life and death are determined by fate. Riches are found in danger. This time, as the person with the highest cultivation level among the people entering the Genius Zone, I must obtain the Immortal Emperor's treasure. Yan Qi's gaze seemed to exude a wave of heat. In an instant, Princess Red Lotus and Huang Tianli were pushed back a few steps. He shouted, almost in a snarl. If I obtain the Immortal Elixir and Immortal Qi, I can form an immortal body and directly ascend to become an immortal. If I obtain the immortal treasure from the immortal world, which is the so-called immortal artifact, it will be even more incredible. It can destroy the earth, change the trajectories of the stars, change the seasons, reverse the seasons, and travel between planes. It is a world-shattering treasure that has endless power and endless wonders. As long as I have an immortal treasure, I can even kill the Tower Master with one move. I can also dominate tens of thousands of planes. Ha 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 ha. This time, I, Yan Qi, will enter the genius zone and succeed. I must be reborn. Ha 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 ha. Tomorrow, I will go to the Wuxia pagoda and meet with the Tower Master to discuss the matter of entering the genius zone. Ha 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 ha. Following Yan Qi's maniacal laughter, the entire flaming mountain erupted and filled the sky. At the same time, the other people who had obtained the places to enter the genius zone, the powerhouses of the past, were also waiting for the battle. They were all in high spirits and headed to the Wuxia pagoda. The entire plain was in turmoil. In this plain, including Xiaofan and Xiao Mingchu, 103 people who were going to enter the genius zone rushed to the Wuxia pagoda. It was a sign that the exploration of the genius zone had officially begun. To be continued. Update Quick Text. Chapter 4:10. On this day, Xiaofan and Xiao Mingchu were already prepared and ready to leave. At the peak of the main peak of the pure mountain range. Wu ***, Dongfang Qin, Fang Ling, many true disciples, as well as Xiaohan's two wives, Jing Yanxue and Lan Shirong, all came to send them off. Jing Yanxue and Lan Shirong saw that Xiaofan was going to leave again. Their faces were filled with reluctance and their beautiful eyes were filled with attachment. Xiaofan pulled his two wives to the side and told them about the parting. "Uncle, you're going to leave again? Then, when will you come back this time?" Jing Yanxue pulled Xiaofan and said coquettishly. "Sigh," Xiaofan sighed and mumbled. "I can't always be by your side and let you suffer the pain of lovesickness. I can't bear it either." While saying that, Xiaofan was also moved. He couldn't help but embrace the two women in his arms. Xiaofan murmured. "Don't worry, I will return as soon as possible. In the future, we will have many opportunities to stay together. You will also have children for me and enjoy it." In Xiaohan's arms, Jing Yanxue and Lan Shirong softened and became obedient. "Oh right, when I am away, you must listen to the sect master's orders. Not long after, Princess Mo Hen will bring her family to my true disciple mountain. At that time, you must take care of her. Princess Mo Hen is also a bitter person. She is deserted by her family and alone." Xiaohan said gently. Jing Yanxue and Lan Shirong only nodded. "Also, follow Master Yen Lang and learn well. If there are no accidents, I will bring back a lot of immortal herbs. At that time, you can help me refine immortal pills." Hee hee. Xiaohan teased. Not long after, Xiaohan and Xiao Mingchu used their true qi and flew across the sky. They left the pure mountain range and flew towards the direction of the Devil Hero region. Suddenly, the Devil Hero token in Xiao Mingchu's arms rang. Someone sent a message. Xiao Mingchu didn't dare to be slow. He took out the Devil Hero token and immersed his spirit into it. "It's a private message from the Tower Master. Junior brother Xiaohan, let me read this message carefully." Xiaohan nodded calmly. After 100 breaths, Xiao Mingchu carefully put away the Yinxia token and looked at Xiaohan. "Junior brother Xiaohan, the pagoda master just sent me a message, asking me to enter the 1000th level of the Yinxia pagoda directly after arriving at the Yinxia domain. At that time, other chivalrous heroes who had obtained places to enter the genius zone would also gather on the 1000th floor. Meet with the elders and start a discussion." "Oh, then I should have reached the 1000th floor of the Wuxia pagoda with you, right?" Xiaohan smiled. Xiao Mingchu shook his head. "Junior brother Xiaohan, the pagoda master asked me to tell you that you don't have to go to the 1000th floor of the monster hero pagoda for the meeting. You can go to the 1001st floor alone. It was also the top floor of the Wuxia Pagoda. According to what I know, the 1001st floor of the demonic hero pagoda is also known as the Pagoda Master's Forbidden Ground. Usually, it's mainly used by the Pagoda Master and the elders for seclusion. Even the ancient giants don't dare to barge in. Eldest senior brother, all of you go to the 1000th floor for the meeting. I'll go to the 1001st floor alone. Xiaofan frowned slightly. Could it be that the Pagoda Master, junior brother Xiaofan, you're in need of help now? I think that with your luck, the Pagoda Master won't harm you. If you want to kill the donkey once it's no longer of use, you should at least wait until you return from the Genius Zone. Xiao Mingchu said seriously. Forget it. I'll deal with it when it comes. Xiaofan smiled. I'll go to the 1001st floor directly. Let's see what tricks the Pagoda Master has up his sleeves. Yes. Xiao Mingchu nodded. By the way, junior brother Xiaofan, the Pagoda Master sent a private message just now. The Immortal World sent another message yesterday. Detailed information about the Genius Zone? Xiaofan blurted out. Yes, it seems to be the spatial coordinates of the Genius Zone and the specific time when the chivalrous heroes selected from each plane will enter the Genius Zone. There are also some simple rules, Xiao Mingchu said solemnly. That's interesting. Xiaofan's eyes lit up. I didn't expect the spatial coordinates of the Genius Zone to be sent down. We're about to enter the Genius Zone. It's really about to happen. Let's go. Junior brother Xiaofan, let's speed up and try to reach the Wuxia Pagoda as soon as possible. Now, I also have a slight itch that I can't scratch. Xiao Mingchu's breathing also became slightly hurried. The Wuxia Pagoda. The top floor. The 1001st floor. There was only one room on the top floor of the Wuxia Pagoda. The thick metal door was tightly shut. Countless ancient characters and talismans were carved on the metal door. There were also star veins extending on the door. There were all kinds of strange phenomena, holy light as vast as the sea, and there were even traces of immortal qi. It was supreme. If someone looked at the door for a long time, they would feel a kind of suction force, sucking their soul into a vast and mysterious world. Strands of aura capable of obliterating the world lay dormant within the door, and it caused the heavens and the earth and the universe to tremble because no one could go against it. It was as if there was a group of ancient gods inside the door. The 13 mental storms were wriggling non-stop as they communicated with each other nervously. Yesterday, the Immortal World sent down a message again. It told us some rules of entering the Genius Zone, the Pagoda Master said in a muffled voice. The other 12 spirit storms represented the elders. They were so nervous that they held their breath. One of the elders said in a trembling voice. Pagoda Master, the Immortal World even sent down the spatial coordinates of the Genius Zone. This is equivalent to telling us the exact location of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's lair. This way, we can find Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's lair in the boundless universe. With the spatial coordinates, we can avoid getting lost in the endless universe. What do you know? How shallow. The Pagoda Master snorted in an eccentric manner. Yes, the spatial coordinates of the Genius Zone have been sent down from above. However, do you know how far away this plane is from the Genius Zone? How long will it take to get there? The group of elders was dumbfounded. They did not know as much as the Pagoda Master. I received a map from the Immortal World. Now, I can tell you that if we depart from our plane, even if the journey is smooth and we are not affected by any turbulent energy flow in the universe, we will still need about 10,000 years to reach the Genius Zone. 10,000 years? By then, it will be too late. Besides, how can we not encounter turbulent energy flow in the universe for 10,000 years? The journey will be very dangerous. Who knows, we might die in the universe within a few years. Yes, it was almost impossible to fly safely in the universe for 10,000 years. The universe was filled with traps and dangers at all times. The land of extreme perils, domain of chill, land of extreme perils, domain of flame, black hole, heavenly fire, meteorite fragments, meteor clusters. The 12 elders were dumbfounded after hearing the pagoda master's words. The genius zone will automatically open once every 3,000 years. This is the precise time sent down by the immortal world, the pagoda master said coldly. I can tell everyone that the most accurate time until the opening of the genius zone this time is 288 days. There are still 288 days left. In other words, we must reach the genius zone within 288 days. Otherwise, people from other planes will go there and we will have to wait another 3,000 years for the next opening. I'm afraid we won't be able to get anything. Huh? There are still 288 days? Why is it so urgent? Gasps could be heard one after another. Pagoda Master, if that's the case, we will have rejoiced for nothing. It will take 10,000 years to fly from our plane to Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's lair, but there are only 288 days left before the genius zone automatically opens. There is no time at all. There is no time at all. I really didn't expect it to be like this. To be honest, this is very unfair. An elder shouted angrily. In other words, being able to enter the genius zone has nothing to do with talent or strength. It is all about location. Those who are close to Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's lair within 288 days will be able to enter. Those who are slightly further away, like our plane, can only watch helplessly. We will not have a share of such a huge treasure. Don't be so noisy. The pagoda master suddenly smiled. Alright, I will tell you the truth. A large number of true immortals and immortal emperors of the immortal world have spent endless energy to set up countless space springboards in the vast space of the lower realm. Space springboards? Yes, they are the space springboards that are built with teleportation formations that can directly teleport to the outer area of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's lair. The pagoda master's voice became louder. According to the rumors, the demon realm of the upper realm is weak, and the supposedly invincible demon god was defeated by a host of immortals. Because of that, the immortals were able to spend immortal power, time, and energy to set up all of these space springboards. Thousands of space springboards were set up so that the demon heroes of countless planes could teleport to Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's lair through the nearest space springboards. Of course, this also shows that Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure is too tempting. Countless immortals and immortal emperors paid attention to it and did not hesitate to set up so many space springboards. Thousands of space springboards. So that the demon heroes of countless planes could choose the one closest to their own plane and teleport. Things seem to be much simpler this way. Ah. Is that so? Pagoda Master, there should be a space springboard near our plane, right? An elder asked excitedly while trembling. There definitely is. The Pagoda Master said seriously. I have already analyzed the map. There are a total of 3 space springboards that are closest to our plane. One of them will take about 200 days to reach from our plane if there are no accidents. The other one will take about 260 days. The last one will take about 300 to 500 days. Ah. Pagoda Master, do we still need to choose? Of course, we will go to the space springboard that will take us 200 days to reach. The elders shouted. There are 288 days until the opening of the genius zone. If we can reach the space springboard within 200 days and then teleport, we can reach the outer area of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's lair in advance. Stupid. The Pagoda Master said disdainfully. From our plane to any space springboard, we need to go through a section of the universe. It is also full of danger. We must choose a relatively safe path. We cannot choose it just because of time. Forget it, I will decide which space springboard to choose as soon as possible. There is no time to lose. Immediately call for a meeting. All of you go and take charge of the 102 people who will enter the genius zone. I will talk to Xiaofan alone. That eternal giant, Yan Qi, is the biggest asset for our plane to compete with the demon heroes of other planes. Don't take advantage of your seniority and neglect him. Yes, Tower Master. To be continued. Chapter 411. The Pagoda Master quickly gave his orders. All of you can leave now. I'll relay some details from the celestial realm to you through spiritual waves. You'll know later, the Pagoda Master said coldly. Yes, the 12 spiritual storms gradually disappeared. In the square in front of the Wuxia Pagoda. Whoosh, whoosh, 2 rays of true qi swept past. Xiaofan and Xiao Mingqiu stabilized their figures in the square at the same time. We're here, Xiao Mingqiu nodded slightly. At this moment, Xiaofan looked around and saw many Wuxia going in and out of the Wuxia Pagoda. It was bustling and lively, showing the prosperity of this plane and the Wuxia realm. Suddenly, after seeing Xiaofan, many Wuxia could not help but stop and stare at him. In their eyes, there were all kinds of expressions: horror, shock, admiration, curiosity, jealousy. Junior brother Xiaofan, the matter of the genius zone is a secret to the entire Wuxia realm. Few Wuxia know about it, Xiao Mingqiu said calmly. Let's enter the Wuxia Pagoda. Don't stay here, lest we cause trouble. Okay, eldest senior brother. Let's split up. You go to the 1000th floor of the Wuxia Pagoda, and I'll go to the 1001st floor. We'll meet again later. Xiaofan nodded. The 2 brothers directly entered the Wuxia Pagoda and teleported separately. The top floor of the Wuxia Pagoda, the 1001st floor. Xiaofan's heart moved slightly. Suddenly, the sinister face of the Pagoda Master and the threats and temptations from before came pouring into Xiaofan's mind. Last time, the Pagoda Master made me go to the demon metropolis and set me up. It was really penetrating. I wonder how the Pagoda Master will plot against me this time. Not long after, the teleportation ended. Xiaofan's body solidified. He stood on the ground and found himself in a small room. Xiaofan quickly glanced around and found that the small room was shining with a mysterious and great power. The 4 walls were transparent like jade and overflowing with immortal qi. On the 4 walls, there were pictures of thousands of bright moons floating in the air. The bright moonlight shone down, creating a marvelous sight. Furthermore, there were many profound runes engraved on the walls. These runes seemed to form a formation, causing Xiaofan to feel dizzy just by looking at them. It was as if he was about to be completely lost in an endless space. Oh! I'm here again. The last time I conversed with the Tower Master was in this small room. Now that I'm back in the same place, I, Xiaofan, am no longer a pushover. Xiaofan sneered in his heart. Furthermore, he took the initiative to speak out loud. Pagoda Master, Xiaofan is back. Ha 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 ha, I didn't expect that I, Xiaofan, could actually come back alive from the demon metropolis. Tower Master, I'm afraid you didn't expect it either, right? Ha 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 ha, after a few breaths, young Xiaofan, it's nice to see you again. Yes, I really didn't expect you to survive. Good, very good. A man's light voice resounded in the small room. It was ethereal and had the feeling of a saint and immortal who enlightened the people of the world. This voice was very gentle and not harsh, but it made people unable to have any thoughts of refuting it. It was as if the words spoken by this voice were all the truth. Whoever refuted it would be treason and heresy. They would even suffer the wrath of heaven. As a human, you were actually able to enter the demon metropolis without dying and escape unscathed. I have to say, Xiaofan, your luck is too prosperous. You are the pride of our demon knight realm. He he. What a hypocrite. Xiaofan kept sneering in his heart, but his mouth was calm and collected. I do have some luck. Otherwise, my bones would have turned cold by now. At the same time, boom. In the unseen world, a great spiritual fluctuation suddenly swept down. It directly swept towards Xiaofan. This was only a trace of spiritual fluctuation, but it turned into a turbulent spiritual storm. It suddenly tore apart the void and enveloped Xiaofan. In an instant, Xiaofan felt a wave of dizziness. However, at this moment, Xiaofan was no longer an ignorant person. His mind had long been sharpened in the demon metropolis to the point that it was crystal clear, sharp, and untainted. In the face of the spiritual fluctuation of the Tower Master, Xiaofan was actually calm and unafraid. Instead, the corner of his mouth curved into a faint smile. The Tower Master's spiritual fluctuation swept through Xiaofan's flesh, bones, skin, hair, blood, cells, true qi, true acupoints, left arm, and other parts like the autumn wind sweeping through fallen leaves. Finally, the Tower Master's spiritual fluctuation directly penetrated into Xiaofan's heart. Suddenly, the Tower Master's spiritual fluctuation was directly lost in the 10,000 Immortals' great formation on the surface of Xiaofan's heart. Ha! The Tower Master let out a cry of surprise. Ha! Xiaofan chuckled. Xiaofan, why can't I sense the demon clan's origin energy in your heart? Moreover, on the surface of your heart, there are many mysterious formations protecting your heart. It's ethereal and inconceivable. What on earth have you encountered? On top of that, there's a total of 13 Demon Emperor crystals embedded on your left monarch beast palm. The demonic vein is so huge that it shrouds the sky, and the demonic force is tremendous. What? What exactly is going on? The Pagoda Master was utterly shocked, and lost his composure. A little bit of a lucky encounter, that's all. Tower Master, please don't laugh at me. Xiaofan smiled. The demon clan's origin energy in my heart, has dissipated. Now, I, Xiaofan, am the purest human. This. The Tower Master was a little choked. Silence. Both sides fell into silence. After a full 10 breaths, the Tower Master asked anxiously. Xiaofan, where's Yen Lang? After you entered the demon metropolis, did you get close to Yen Lang? Xiaofan shrugged and said. Tower Master, I didn't see Yen Lang. The demon metropolis is heavily guarded, and there are 3 layers of protection for Yen Lang. I had no chance to get close to Yen Lang. It's even more impossible for me to kill Yen Lang. It's already very difficult for me to come back alive. I'm sorry, I didn't complete the task given to me by the Tower Master. In fact, no human can kill Yen Lang in the demon metropolis in front of the 10 great demon emperors. This. The Tower Master hesitated for a moment. Yes, Xiaofan, I knew that you wouldn't be able to complete this task. After Xiaofan entered the demon metropolis, only he knew what he had experienced. Therefore, some of the lies he made up now were watertight. No matter how powerful the Tower Master was, he wouldn't be able to find any flaws. Forget it, let's not talk about this anymore. The task of assassinating Yen Lang has been temporarily put on hold. It's not a big deal. Now, the most important thing is the exploration of the Genius Zone. The Tower Master said. Xiaofan, since the demon clan's origin energy in your heart has dissipated, then you are no longer a threat to our demon knight realm. Instead, you will be put in an important position by me. Oh? Xiaofan smiled playfully. Yes, I will train you, Xiaofan. The Tower Master said seriously. You expanded your meridians 10 times, and the accumulated expansion times reached 2,553 times. This is simply like being possessed by a god. You are the #1 genius in this realm. If you were in another realm, you wouldn't lose to anyone. Once you transform your true qi into a true talisman, you will be like a carp transforming into a dragon. Tell me, if I don't put you in an important position, who will I put in an important position? Listen, Xiaofan, this time, I will give you a place to go to the Genius Zone. The Tower Master said enthusiastically. Including you, our realm will send 103 demon knights to the genius zone. Xiaofan, your luck is prosperous. I have high hopes for you. Xiaofan, listen carefully. If there are no accidents, tomorrow, I will personally bring you to the genius zone. What? So soon? Xiaofan was shocked. Time is running out. The Tower Master said quickly. Xiaofan, you still don't know. There are only 288 days left before the opening of the genius zone. We don't have much time left. In other words, we must reach the nest of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao within 288 days. 288 days? Xiaofan frowned. Yes, even if we are late by a day, we can only lament our inadequacy, the Tower Master explained patiently. But Xiaofan, you don't have to be too anxious. In terms of time, we can still make it. If everything goes well, we should be able to reach the destination before the opening of the genius zone. This time, the Celestial Realm has set up more than 1,000 space springboards among the countless ordinary realms in the boundless lower realm. That way, we demon knights from ordinary realms can choose the closest space springboard and teleport directly to the nest of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao, the Tower Master said. Oh, I see. Xiaofan nodded. Xiaofan, the Pagoda Lord said, the world of immortals has announced the genius zone to the world so that all the human heroes of ordinary planes know about it. However, I have to tell you that before entering the genius zone, they'll eliminate a significant portion of the heroes from those planes. A portion of the demon knights? Xiaofan was confused. First of all, those who can't reach the nearest space springboard within the stipulated time will be eliminated. Although there are more than 1,000 space springboards evenly distributed, there are some realms that are too remote. Within 288 days, we can't reach the nearest space springboard to teleport. Secondly, even if we reach the nearest space springboard, we might not be able to teleport because it takes a lot of resources to teleport. In other words, an endless supply of supreme-grade True Chi Spirit Stones. Activating the Space Springboard Teleportation Array requires a terrifying amount of supreme-grade True Chi Spirit Stones. I have estimated that after we reach the nearest Space Springboard, we will need to use 2/3 of the supreme-grade True Chi Spirit Stones in the entire realm to teleport. 2/3 of the supreme-grade True Chi Spirit Stones in the entire realm? Xiaofan was shocked. Just one teleportation and it's already so terrifying? Ha ha ha, of course. If we don't use the space springboard to teleport, it will take at least 10,000 years to reach Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's nest. And the prerequisite is that we won't be attacked by space turbulence during the journey. The Tower Master's voice became a little smug. Fortunately, the resources in this plane are still passable. Some realms don't have so many resources to teleport. Ha ha ha. Eliminating some realms is only good for us, there's no harm. That's right. The fewer the competitors, the more likely it is for us to profit in the genius zone. Xiaofan nodded. How about this, Xiaofan, you leave first. I need to hurry up and allocate resources and prepare all kinds of supplies. Now we have 2 paths to the nearest space springboard. One of them will take about 200 days to reach, and the other will take about 260 days. Of course, the degree of danger of these 2 paths is different. I need to think about it carefully. At least, I need to make sure that our people don't get hurt before entering the space springboard. If there are no accidents and I can settle everything today, then we will set off tomorrow. Anyway, the sooner the better. Xiaofan, are you okay? No problem. Xiaofan licked his lips. Then you leave first and rest in the Wuxia pagoda for a day. Wait for my news. I will return your Wuxia token to you. To be continued. Update quick text. Chapter 4:12. Xiaofan exited from the 1001st floor of the Wuxia Tower and teleported to the 60th floor of the Wuxia Tower. He found a quiet room in the entertainment area. Sitting on the wooden chair, Xiaofan took out his Wuxia token and murmured to himself, as expected, the Tower Master didn't insist on making things difficult for me when we met again. It seems like he needs me to enter the Genius Zone to search for celestial treasures for him. But it's okay, I'll enter the Genius Zone for my own cultivation and accumulation. I'll just play it by ear. Xiaohan's psyche seeped into the communication panel of the Wuxia token and sent a message to Xiao Mingchu. Eldest senior brother, I'm resting on the 60th floor. You can come and find me after the meeting. Then, Xiaohan sent a message to Wu Hao, Dongfang Qin, Fang Ling, and the others to report that he was safe. When Xiaohan found the name, Xiao Yunrong, in the communication panel, he immediately fell into a trance. Xiaohan tried to communicate with her, but he found that, just like before, Xiao Yunrong had turned off the communication function of the Devil Hero token, so that Xiaohan's psychic waves could not be transmitted. Any message was like a clay ox entering the sea, without any response. Hey Yunrong, where are you? Why don't you turn on the communication function of the Wuxia token? I'll probably leave for the Genius Zone tomorrow. I don't know when I'll be back. Xiaohan shook his head and sighed. Not long after, Xiao Mingchu came down from the 1000th floor of the Wuxia tower and met up with Xiaohan. The two of them gathered and quickly chatted. Eldest senior brother, what information did you get from the meeting? Xiaohan asked with interest. Xiao Mingchu nodded slightly. The meeting on the 1000th floor of the Wuxia tower was hosted by 12 elders. Including me, there were 102 Wuxia in total who participated in the meeting. The one with the strongest cultivation base is an ancient giant. He is ranked 77th on the monster hero ranking, Yan Qi. The rest are all ancient giants. Their cultivation bases are similar to mine. There are 5 of them who are at the 8th stage of True Qi, the Talisman Formation realm. Oh. There's an ancient giant below 10,000 years old? Xiaohan was slightly stunned. Yes, Yan Qi is younger than most of the ancient giants. He reached the 9th level of True Qi, True Treasure realm at 9,000 years old. He should be able to compete with the geniuses from other planes. He is the rightful leader of our plane who has entered the Genius Zone. Xiao Mingchu nodded. After a pause, Xiao Mingchu continued. Junior brother Xiaohan, if you go to the 1001st floor, it should be the Pagoda Master who wants to meet you alone, right? Yes, the Tower Master told me that if there are no accidents, we will depart tomorrow and head for the space springboard closest to our plane. Xiaohan nodded. There are 2 space springboards for us to choose from. One of them will take 200 days to reach, while the other one will take 260 days. There are still 288 days until the opening of the Genius Zone. Yes, that's all, Xiao Mingchu said directly. Junior brother Xiaohan, let's just wait and see. Once he left this plane, he would have to be extra careful. Remember, it will be extremely dangerous on the way to the springboard. Perhaps they would encounter a destructive space energy turbulence along the way. Let's not talk about the Genius Zone first. It's already not easy to smoothly enter the nearest space springboard. On the top floor of the Wuxia Pagoda, 13 powerful mental storms were wriggling and communicating with each other. Tower Master, all the supreme-grade True Qi Spirit Stones in the entire plane are being sent to the Wuxia Tower. We have already collected supreme-grade True Qi Spirit Stones from the 4 regions, as well as from every sect and empire in the Great Wilderness. We are also frantically mining some of the supreme-grade True Qi Spirit Stones in the depths of the Great Wilderness, an elder reported solemnly. Fortunately, the resources in our plane are not bad. After entering the space springboard, we have enough resources to teleport. Yes, let's decide which path to take now. The Tower Master immediately said, after repeated research, I have decided to choose the space springboard that can be reached in 260 days. Tower Master. This? Why did you choose this path? Isn't there a space springboard that's closer to our plane? It will only take 200 days. The elders were puzzled. Pagoda Master, since we're only 288 days away from the opening of the Genius Zone, why don't we take a shortcut instead of taking a detour? This, wasting 60 days for no good reason, isn't it a little inappropriate? Of course. Didn't I consider this? I have studied the path that can be reached in 200 days. It is extremely dangerous. This path is filled with abyssal black holes, spatial rifts, space-time storms, meteorite fragments. Moreover, there will be hundreds of demons from other planes who will choose this path. Although the world of immortals has decreed that the heroes of other planes aren't allowed to fight each other before entering the Genius Zone, it's inevitable that some friction will arise if we encounter heroes of other planes. That could delay our journey, the Tower Master said coldly. Huh? Abyssal black holes? Spatial rifts? Space-time storms? Meteor fragments? The 12 elders sucked in a breath of cold air and were scared out of their wits. Terrifying. Too terrifying, humph. Let's just talk about the spatial rifts. Even a hair-thin spatial rift is enough to break a person's body. A slightly larger spatial rift can suck a person in and grind them to dust. The Tower Master's voice was also filled with fear. Ordinary spatial rifts have the power to devour space. Even ordinary immortals will have their immortal bodies destroyed if they fall into the range of a spatial rift, let alone us. It's too dangerous. We can't choose this path, the elders yelled. There's also the meteorite debris stream. Sometimes, the densely packed meteorite fragments can smash an immortal into a hornet's nest. When the space-time storm blows, we'll be blown into dust and our souls will dissipate. When the abyssal black hole devours us, not even ashes will be left. The Pagoda Master said coldly. Don't be fooled by the fact that this path leads to the space springboard. It's only a 200-day journey, but it's extremely dangerous along the way. If we choose this path, I'm afraid we won't be able to reach the space springboard at all. We'll all be wiped out. Those elders were scared silly, and they were trembling with fear as they spoke one after another. The treasures in the Genius Zone are precious, but there's really no need to gamble with our lives or even die for nothing. Pagoda Master, the route that takes 260 days to reach shouldn't have so many dangerous factors, right? Yes, this path is relatively safer. The Tower Master nodded with a smile. There won't be any dangers like spatial rifts along the way. Huh? Is that so? That's great. That's great. Nothing could be better than reaching the space springboard safely. The elders were all relieved. Don't celebrate too early. The Tower Master said in a low voice. The 260-day journey isn't completely uneventful. In fact, there's no such thing as tranquility in the vast cosmos. There's also a very dangerous factor on this path, and that is, the hallucinatory Fiend land. The hallucinatory Fiend land? The elders were shocked. The hallucinatory Fiend land is also one of the turbulent flows of energy in the cosmos. However, it's a formless psychic flow, the Tower Master explained solemnly. The so-called hallucinatory Fiend land is, in fact, formed by countless messy psychic fragments. These fragments can affect one's mind, invade one's brain, and interfere with one's soul. In other words, it can cause hallucinations. With that said, the elders all understood. In the hallucinatory Fiend land, countless psychic fragments would invade one's mind and soul, causing hallucinations. To be honest, the hallucinatory Fiend land is also extremely dangerous. Ordinary hallucinations are nothing, but a powerful torrent of psychic fragments can instantly attack and affect one's mood and state of mind. Once one loses control of their emotions, their mind will collapse, and they might even commit suicide, the Tower Master said slowly. After a pause, the Tower Master changed the topic. However, according to the description on the map, the psychic fragments on this path are more scattered. If we prepare in advance and guard our minds, we won't lose control of our emotions. At most, we'll have some slight hallucinations. That's right, Tower Master. As long as one's mind is firm and steady, they won't be attacked by the psychic fragments. Their minds will be clear for miles, and they won't have hallucinations. An elder smiled. I cultivate in the way of the sword, and my heart of the sword is bright. My sword intent can even kill the negative emotions of nothingness. Ordinary hallucinatory demonic lands really can't threaten me, ha ha ha, ha 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 ha, that's right. We're all old antiques who have cultivated for countless years. What haven't we experienced? Birth, old age, sickness, and death, all kinds of battles, life and death with the demon race, bottlenecks and breakthroughs in cultivation. Our minds have long since become impervious to honor and disgrace. Scattered psychic fragments can't affect our minds at all. A few more elders expressed their opinions. Even if we have hallucinations, we'll be able to stop at the precipice and kill our inner demons in time. The elders were more optimistic about the hallucinatory fiend land. Enough, stop bragging, the Tower Master coldly scolded. That's right. We've lived for countless years, and we've experienced many things. We've also witnessed the rise and fall of the era. There's no problem with our minds. However, if we encounter a psychic storm formed by countless psychic fragments, we won't be able to withstand it. However, it's still much safer than spatial cracks, black holes, space-time storms, meteorite fragments, thunderbolts, and heavenly flames. Don't worry, Tower Master. We definitely won't be careless. The elders expressed their opinions. Then, let's officially decide. We'll take this path that will take us 260 days. The Tower Master finally made his decision. Also, tell the 103 demons who entered the Genius Zone about the dangerous hallucinatory fiend land on this path. Let them be prepared in advance. However, they were able to cultivate to this level under the age of 10,000. The weakest among them is at the True Chi's 7th stage Talisman Transformation realm. In terms of their minds, there shouldn't be too many problems. It shouldn't be too much of a problem for them to pass through the layers of hallucinatory fiend land. Tower Master, that Xiaofan is still at the expanded Meridian realm. His realm is low, I wonder how his mind is. An elder said in a low voice. Xiaofan. Among the 103 candidates, this brat's realm is the lowest, but his mind is definitely the most stable. There's no need to worry about this brat. The Tower Master sneered. This time, we're going to make use of Xiaofan's luck. All of you, listen up. Don't make things difficult for Xiaofan along the way. Let him work for us without worry. After pausing for a moment, the Tower Master spoke again. There are 2 more things that we need to pay attention to. Tower Master, please speak. Chapter 4:13. The Pagoda Master was making arrangements for their departure. It was of utmost importance. The first thing. After we set off, we will inevitably run into Wuxia from other planes. Remember, don't ever get into conflict with the villains from other planes. Don't be competitive. Showing off is the stupidest thing to do. If you can bear it, you must. As long as we don't provoke others, the Wuxia from other planes won't try to harm us. After all, we're all human Wuxia. We don't have any grudges against each other. Besides, the Immortal world has decreed that before entering the Genius Zone, all planes are not allowed to kill each other, the Pagoda Master said while thinking. Yes, Pagoda Master. We won't provoke others. We'll bear it if we can. The elders nodded in agreement. Being able to gain benefits from the Genius Zone is a sign of true ability. There's no need to fight because of personal feelings. It's good that you understand this. The candidates for entering the Genius Zone, the 103 Wuxia, must also be well controlled. Don't cause trouble. Now is not the time to show off. A little impatience will spoil great plans. Especially that Xiaofan. I'm going to warn him personally. This Xiaofan is too reckless and lawless. He dared to kill Wuxia in front of the Wuxia Tower. He's a rule breaker. We can't let him do as he pleases on the way to the Genius Zone. The Pagoda Master said solemnly. The second thing, we'll also go to the Genius Zone. But, the journey is dangerous. If we're not careful, we'll be in danger of dying. The 12 elders fell silent after hearing the words. There were even a few elders among them who were trembling in fear. That's right, the Pagoda Master and the elders were at the top of the human food chain in this plane. It was almost impossible for them to die. Even the 10 great demon emperors wouldn't be able to kill them easily. But it was hard to say once they left this plane. What? Are you afraid? The Pagoda Master said in a strange tone. This. The elders blushed with shame. Ha 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 ha, you're all used to acting like tyrants in this plane. Now that you're facing danger, it's hard to avoid it. Ha 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 ha, just like you, I am also a little worried. Therefore, the second matter is, the clone. We'll create a doppelganger and have it lead the 103 heroes to the Genius Zone. Our true bodies will guard the Wuxia Pagoda. The Pagoda Master laughed heartily. In this way, even if our avatars meet with misfortune, as long as we're alive, there's hope. As long as our main bodies don't die, we won't perish. At our level of cultivation, creating a clone isn't a problem. However, Pagoda Master, creating a clone requires a large amount of true energy and soul energy. At the very least, it will consume more than half of our main body's energy. If our clone is destroyed, our main body's vitality will also be greatly damaged. It won't be able to recover even after 10,000 years, an elder said timidly. Idiot. At most, he would have to consume some of his soul strength and true chi. It was still better than having his body killed and his soul dissipated, right? Stop talking nonsense. Now, all of you, focus your minds and create your doppelgangers. Complete the clone before sunrise tomorrow. The Pagoda Master shouted. Yes. The Pagoda Master is wise and far-sighted. Our main bodies will guard the Wuxia Pagoda, making us completely invincible. However, I'm worried that the demons will take the opportunity to attack. It doesn't matter. The demons still don't know our plan. Moreover, there are many offensive and defensive formations engraved on the Wuxia Pagoda. Even if the demons attack, they won't be able to take down the Wuxia Pagoda in a short time. Also, order all the fiends in the world to temporarily give up on killing the scattered fiends in the 4 regions and the great wilderness. The Pagoda Master was strategizing. Outside the Wuxia Pagoda. It was night time. However, there were dazzling true energy rays flashing across the night sky. The heroes returned to the Wuxia Pagoda from the 4 regions and the great wilderness, each carrying a large number of supreme-grade true energy spirit stones. Brother Ma, why did the Wuxia Pagoda order to collect supreme-grade true energy spirit stones? The number of supreme-grade true energy spirit stones stored in the Wuxia Pagoda is not small. Why do they want to collect them from the 4 regions and the great wilderness? Did something happen? A young hero asked a middle-aged hero. The young hero wore a total of 4 storage rings on each of his 10 fingers, each of which was piled high with supreme-grade spiritual stones of true chi as high as a mountain. I'm not sure about that. The middle-aged hero was stunned. Brother Ma, is there going to be a war? Our demon world is going to declare war on the demon metropolis, so they're urgently preparing resources? The young hero guessed. Don't guess blindly. You young people are always full of imagination. War? Let me tell you, at least in our plane, it's impossible for the humans and demons to have a large-scale war in a short time. You hot-blooded young people always want to go straight to the demon metropolis. Ha ha ha. The current balanced situation is actually the best, unless there's a genius who can decide the outcome of the war. Right, that young man Xiaofan is not bad. He can expand his acupoints by 2,553 times. As long as he grows up, he can turn into talismans, true treasures, and open his immortal eyes. Under his leadership, we may be able to completely destroy the demons in this plane. Realize the great unification of the human race. But these are all for later. Well, the supreme grade true energy spirit stones can be exchanged for contribution points. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Don't be so suspicious. Hurry up and send the supreme grade true energy spirit stones into the Wuxia tower. Okay, Brother Ma, I'm short of contribution points to exchange for a true energy divine skill. That night, countless heroes sent a large number of supreme grade true energy spirit stones into the Wuxia tower. On the 60th floor of the Wuxia tower. In the room where Xiaofan and Xiao Mingqiu were. After having dinner, the two of them sat cross-legged in the room to recuperate. They did not go out. At this moment, beep beep, their Wuxia tokens rang at the same time. Junior brother Xiaofan, it's a message from the tower master. Xiao Mingqiu did not dare to delay and immediately took out the Wuxia token. Read the message first. Xiaofan nodded and took out his Wuxia token. The two immersed their spirits into the Wuxia token at the same time. After a while, if there are no accidents, we'll set off tomorrow. Xiao Mingqiu carefully put the Wuxia token in his arms. First, we have to travel for about 260 days to reach a space springboard. Yes, 260 days. Xiaofan also knew about this information. Eldest senior brother, we originally had two choices in this plane. One was to reach the space springboard in 200 days, and the other was to reach the other space springboard in 260 days. I thought that the tower master would choose the 200 days, but I didn't expect him to choose the far one. It said that the 200 days route is very dangerous. There are many space cracks along the way, and it's very difficult to get through. On the other hand, the 260-day route was much less dangerous. Hallucinatory Fiend Land? We need to go through many overlapping, hallucinatory Fiend Land. Eldest senior brother, what is this hallucinatory Fiend Land? Xiao Mingqiu thought for a while. I don't know much about the hallucinatory Fiend Land. I've read some short stories about the hallucinatory Fiend Land in a book of unofficial history. It said that in the universe, there are countless spirit fragments. These spirit fragments will attack the universe traveler and invade the universe traveler's brain, soul, and heart, causing the universe traveler to hallucinate. If one's heart is strong enough, and his spirit is strong enough, then these spirit fragments, which are the hallucinatory Fiend Land, will not be able to interfere with the universe traveler. On the contrary, the universe traveler with a weak heart and weak spirit will suffer greatly. His emotions will go out of control, and his heart will produce killing intent, hatred, inferiority, despair, and many other negative emotions. He will not be able to distinguish between friend and foe, and even commit suicide. Xiao Mingqiu talked non-stop. In comparison, the difficulty of the hallucinatory Fiend Land is much lower than the space crack. Junior brother Xiaofan, your will is very strong. Moreover, you have comprehended the great accomplishment stage blade intent, and your spirit is clear and flawless. Even if you encounter the hallucinatory Fiend Land, you will not be too affected. You might even be able to use this opportunity to refine your spirit, and make your spirit and blade intent more mellow and bright. As he spoke, Xiao Mingqiu could not help but laugh. Oh? You can refine your spirit in the hallucinatory Fiend Land? There's such a saying? Xiaofan's heart jumped. It's recorded in the unofficial history that some ancient sword cultivators and blade users had stagnated in their spirit power. They spent a lot of effort to collect spirit fragments from the universe, and purposely set up the hallucinatory Fiend Land. They entered it to refine their spirit power, and sharpen their blade and sword hearts. For example, in the various secret cultivation rooms in the Wuxia Pagoda, there are illusion rooms. Of course, the illusion rooms in the Wuxia Pagoda are far less effective than the hallucinatory Fiend Land in the universe. So that's how it is. Xiaofan could not help but lick his lips. Many thoughts suddenly surged in his mind. I cultivate a special spirit power technique, the extinguishing heaven and earth spirit technique. There are 28 spirit finger techniques, and my spirit power transforms, liquefies, and solidifies. Currently, I have only cultivated to the 7th spirit finger technique, and barely completed it. However, the accumulation of my spirit power is too weak, and I am completely unable to break through to the 8th spirit finger technique. Unless I find some heavenly treasure that can increase my spirit power, or some peerless immortal medicine. However, these treasures can only be found by luck. However, now that I am about to enter a path filled with hallucinatory fiend land, I want to see if the layers of hallucinatory fiend land spirit technique can strengthen my spirit power, and allow my extinguishing heaven and earth spirit technique to advance by leaps and bounds. Thinking of this, Xiaofan's face lit up, and his eyes revealed a look of eagerness. Ha, junior brother Xiaofan, I was just speaking casually just now. You wouldn't take it seriously, right? Alright, I won't fool you anymore. It is very difficult to use the hallucinatory fiend land to refine one's spirit power. Because the spirit fragments in the universe are too messy. For example, it is like a dragon and a tiger clashing with each other, and cannot be easily reconciled. If you hastily refine those spirit fragments, there is a high possibility that you will go berserk. Alright, junior brother Xiaofan, don't think too much, and rest. Perhaps we will depart tomorrow morning. Xiao Mingchu shook his head and laughed. Alright, eldest senior brother. Xiaofan nodded without batting an eyelid. The night was silent. On the second day, after sunrise, Xiaofan and Xiao Mingchu's yen chivalrous token emitted a hurried sound again. Both of them jumped up from the bed at the same time, and their spirit waves sank into the yen chivalrous token. Very soon, depart. Junior brother Xiaofan. Depart immediately. Xiao Mingchu growled. I really didn't expect it to be so urgent. It is simply urgent. The pagoda master has sent a message for us to gather immediately and depart immediately. Junior brother Xiaofan, the pagoda master has set up a small teleportation formation in our yen chivalrous token. Do you see it? Immediately activate this formation with your true chi, and we will be able to teleport over and meet up with the pagoda master. Oh. Xiaofan scanned with his spirit waves, and sure enough, he found a small teleportation formation in the yen chivalrous token. This formation could be successfully activated by inserting a wisp of true chi. Junior brother Xiaofan, let's depart. Xiao Mingchu looked excited. In an instant, he had already activated the formation, and the power of space flowed. His entire body turned into a series of shadows, and he was about to disappear on the spot. Alright. Chapter 4:14. Swoosh, swoosh, Xiaofan and Xiao Mingchu activated the teleportation array in the yen chivalrous token and were teleported to an empty square. The empty square was about 10 acres in size. It seemed to be built on top of the mountains and among the white clouds. Looking around, Xiaofan saw countless mountains surrounding it, layer upon layer floating in the air. Some were crisscrossed and looked very dangerous. Some were towering old trees and looked very ancient. Some had clear springs and waterfalls. The scenery was elegant. Some were straight up to the sky and had a grand aura. Clouds rose and rays of light shone, showing the charm of an immortal. At this moment, there were already many people standing on the square. Xiaofan and Xiao Mingchu looked at each other and then looked over. 100 or so people with powerful vital energy fluctuations were standing at the center of the square, eager to give it a try. The vital energy waves around these people were very dense, like the mountains and seas of hell. They were unbelievably strong. Moreover, Xiaofan could feel that the internal organs of these people seemed to have become mysterious talisman arrays. They hid many secrets of heaven and earth and were very closely connected to heaven and earth. Among them, there were a few whose vital energy surged out of the pores of their bodies. They immediately spread out and condensed into true talismans and talisman arrays that were dazzling. Among them, the one with the most terrifying aura was a middle-aged man in a red robe. He had his hands behind his back and his expression was very arrogant and cold. He gave off a feeling of loneliness. Just by standing there casually, he gave off a feeling that he was like a crane in a flock of chickens. Both his eyebrows and hair were crimson in color. Furthermore, his hair reached his waist and fluttered in the wind. If one were to look closely, they would see that his eyebrows, hair, and even his entire body were burning with flames. His face was as cold as a stone statue and his eyes were extremely sharp. He gave off a domineering feeling with every move he made. He was the king of the world. He gave off a pressure that made people's hearts palpitate at any time and place. Dense red true talismans rolled out of his body and condensed into a flame array. With a slight sweep of his mind, one could see that there were many flaming mountains around this person. He was constantly emitting a terrifying aura that could destroy heaven and earth. This was a big shot. Yan Qi? The ancient giant Yan Qi? Xiaofan muttered softly. Yes, junior brother Xiaofan. That red-haired middle-aged man is Yan Qi, ranked 77th on the monster ranking. Xiao Mingchu nodded immediately. Today, the 103 fiends will represent this plane and enter the genius zone. Yan Qi is the strongest of them all, a 9th stage true treasure. However, this person is very proud and aloof. He disdains to have any dealings with us, and I have no friendship with him. Junior brother Xiaohan, let's go. Ignore Yan Qi. Alright. With a thought, all of Xiaohan's true qi was converted into the spirit turtle's true qi, sealing up his left demon emperor's hand firmly. Not a single trace of demonic qi could be seen. The two of them walked directly towards the hundreds of experts. The people on the other side also looked over. When they saw Xiaohan, most of them exclaimed in surprise. Brother Xiao. A middle-aged man dressed in yellow with a jade-like complexion greeted Xiao Mingchu with a smile. Come here. This must be the peerless beauty of your Pure Rain sect, young man Xiaohan, right? At first glance, he's indeed extraordinary. Ha ha ha. Brother Luo. Xiao Mingchu laughed heartily and led Xiaohan over. Junior brother Xiaohan, let me introduce you. This is Luo Tianyu. He's a close friend of mine and became a fiend hero in the same batch as me. However, brother Luo is diligent in his cultivation. He's not as lazy as your senior brother, ha ha ha. Brother Luo, if I remember correctly, you should be ranked 398th on the fiend hero ranking, right? You're much taller than me, much taller. Ha ha ha. Xiao Mingchu patted Luo Tianyu's shoulder and spoke with a strong sense of friendship. This is an ancient giant. His realm is the same as eldest senior brothers, the 8th stage true qi talisman formation realm. Xiaohan already knew in his heart. He immediately bowed and said. Greetings, Senior Luo. Ha ha ha. Xiaohan, you don't have to be so courteous with me. Luo Tianyu's expression was very heroic. He did not adhere to the customs and smiled at Xiaohan. Xiaohan, I don't dare to call myself a senior in front of you. Let's talk as equals. Your meridians expanded by 2,553 times. You're many times stronger than I was back then. Once you transform into a talisman, your achievements will be unimaginable. Moreover, you're someone who dares to crush the rules and even caused a few ancient giants to be defeated. Ha ha ha, speaking of which, I really admire you. Come, let's have a good chat. The pagoda master and the elders have yet to appear. Let's have a casual chat. At this moment, there were many ancient giants who took the initiative to befriend Xiaohan. Among them, there was no lack of existences at the 8th stage true qi talisman formation realm. Xiaofan was neither servile nor overbearing as he responded to them one by one. At this moment, humph! A cold snort rumbled like thunder and resounded in Xiaofan's ears. This voice even directly seeped into Xiaofan's mind, causing a rumbling sound in Xiaofan's head. It was as if his soul was about to be shattered. Xiaofan was enraged. He swept his gaze across and looked over. This cold snort had actually come from Yan Qi. At this moment, Yan Qi's face was sinister as he looked at Xiaofan with disdain. The aura on his body was boundless and boundless. The cold snort just now contained the sound of killing intent and a trace of a mental storm. If Xiaofan's mental strength was not much stronger than an ordinary martial artist's, this cold snort would have caused Xiaofan to vomit blood and his soul to be greatly damaged. Xiaofan stared at Yan Qi. The muscles at the corner of his eyes twitched and killing intent rose from the bottom of his heart. However, he was able to keep his composure. After calming himself down, he said indifferently. Ancient Giant, Senior Yan Qi, I, Xiaofan, have no enmity with you. It's not a problem for me to converse with a group of ancient giants here, is it? Don't you think it's ungentlemanly for you to suddenly attack me like this? Ha 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 ha, Yan Qi laughed sinisterly. His eyes were like an eagle's as he stared at Xiaofan. Xiaofan, everyone says that you're a despicable person. It's true. You even dare to boast in front of me. Do you have any respect for your seniors? You've killed wantonly in front of the Demon Hero Tower and crushed the rules. This is an evil deed that will be condemned by everyone. However, you're not ashamed of it but proud of it. You're showing off here. Yes, it's true that your acupoint expansion is heaven-defying. However, it doesn't mean that your talisman transformation is also heaven-defying. Remember, I'll teach you a good lesson. Expanding acupoints is just to build a foundation. Do you understand? Your starting point is too high, so it's hard for you to improve. Moreover, your combat strength is all the methods of the demon clan. You're an evil demon. It's fine if you're an honest person. However, you're so ostentatious. You're on your own now. I don't know why the Tower Master wants to see you alone. I'm sure you're very good at flattering. After a pause, Yan Qi changed the topic and glanced at the ancient giants. All of you are ancient giants, but you don't know how to behave yourselves. You're circling around a despicable young man. Where's your sense of propriety? All of you, leave. An ancient giant truly was an ancient giant. Because of the pressure he had been exerting for so long, as soon as he spoke, all of the ancient giants surrounding Xiaofan began to back away. Humph. Xiao Mingchu was indignant and wanted to argue with Yan Qi. However, he was stopped by Xiaohan and Luo Tianyu. Eldest senior brother, don't act rashly. It's not worth arguing with him, Xiaohan warned. At this moment, a majestic and invincible voice came from the 9 heavens. Everyone is here, right? It's the voice of the Tower Master. Xiaohan's heart moved. In the next moment, the multicolored clouds in the sky split into 2. A gentle wind blew as a group of old men escorting a white-robed middle-aged man descended. There were a total of 12 old men. All of them had white hair and a youthful complexion. They looked like sages. Some of these old men wore white clothes that fluttered like the clouds, some wore gray clothes that fluttered like the wind, and some wore fiery red robes. The auras on their bodies were unfathomable, and they looked like ordinary people that didn't know the slightest bit about martial arts. The white-clothed middle-aged man surrounded by the 12 old men had a pale complexion and a powerful aura. An invincible aura emanated from his body and pierced through the heavens and earth. This was the aura of an immortal. It was ethereal and unfathomable. The moment he appeared, there was complete silence. The demeanor and aura of a leader were on full display. His eyes seemed to contain the birth and destruction of planes. Ordinary people did not dare to look him in the eye. If they met his gaze, they might be forcefully sucked in. Moreover, there was a faint red mark between this person's eyebrows. It looked like a birthmark. The faint mark seemed to contain a mysterious force that no one dared to guess. Greetings to the pagoda master and the elders. The Yao warriors present also saluted. Oh. So the pagoda master has such a face. He looks very sanctimonious, Xiaofan thought to himself. Alright, there's no need to be so courteous. The pagoda master took a step forward and said with a pleasant voice. Yan Qi, don't argue with Xiaofan. You are the most outstanding geniuses of this plane. There is only one reason for you to go to the genius zone, and that is to bring back celestial treasures and celestial opportunities for this plane. Yan Qi, you are an ancient powerhouse. You are older than Xiaofan and have a stronger cultivation than him. You should behave yourself. Xiaofan, Yan Qi is an ancient powerhouse. He naturally has his own dignity. What he said is not disrespectful to you. It's only natural. You should understand and be aware of it. Xiaofan and Yan Qi smirked coldly when they heard this. Alright, I won't waste any more time. This time, I and the 12 elders will personally bring you to the genius zone. Time is of the essence. Our journey is 260 days, and there are only 287 days left until the genius zone opens. Let's go. The hallucinatory demonic realm will appear along the way. I hope you can guard your mind and not be trapped by the hallucinatory demonic realm, the pagoda master said nervously. In the next moment, let's go. Let's go. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, the journey was too urgent. Therefore, the pagoda master did not say much. After a few words, he took to the sky first, followed by the 12 elders. Brother Xiao, little brother Xiaofan, let's go too. Luo Tianyu smiled and took to the sky with his true qi. In an instant, the 103 Yao Xia, including Xiaofan, also took to the sky. The pagoda master, the 12 elders, and the 103 Yao Xia turned into 116 rays of flowing light. In an instant, they broke through the clouds and flew into the depths of the universe. Everyone, during the flight, try to use the communication function of the Yao Xia token to communicate telepathically. Do not speak. Flying in the vast universe consumes a lot of true qi. If you run out of true qi spiritual stones, you can come to me and the 12 elders to get them. Don't worry, we have prepared enough true qi spiritual stones. We can guarantee that everyone can reach the space gangplank smoothly, the pagoda master said. As they spoke, everyone took out their Yunchivalrous tokens and added each other in the communication bar. Then, they used telepathic waves to communicate with each other. In the universe. Xiaofan and the others followed the pagoda master and flew at a constant speed. True qi was burning on the surface of everyone's body. Flying in the universe is really exhausting. Xiaofan shook his head slightly. I estimate that flying in the universe at the same speed will consume more than 10 times the amount of true qi. My true qi is the weakest among these ancient giants. After all, I have just reached the expanded acupoint realm. Therefore, I need true qi spiritual stones very much. I have to be prepared to replenish them at all times. Just now, Xiaofan had obtained a large number of supreme-grade true qi spiritual stones from an elder and stored them in his storage ring. Now, after only a few hours of flying, he had already consumed half of those supreme-grade true qi spiritual stones.